Ben Cameron and Corbin Middlemash from ABC Sport here.
Alongside Paul Roos, Brett Delidio and Poppy Penny, we bring you all the latest AFL news from both on and off the field on the ABC AFL Daily podcast.
You can hear it all on the ABC Listen app.
Up to steady and pull the trigger!
Get ABC AFL Daily Podcast. It's your daily footy conversation. Find it on the ABC Listen app. On ABC Sport. You're listening to the 2025 AFL Premiership season.
AFL. Don't get better than this. On your radio,
Sport Digital,
and on the ABC Listen app.
Yes, Launceston is a very happy hunting ground for the Hawthorn Hawks, who most recently knocked off the highly fancied Adelaide Crows in a 3-point thriller right here at York Park. Today they faced the resurgent Roos, a North Melbourne side having won 3 of its past 5 matches, with a Hawthorn coaching great at the helm. Have the Roos finally turned the corner, or has the past month been fool's gold for Clarko's young Crusaders? We'll find out very, very soon when they do battle with the top 4 hopeful Hawks in beautiful, crisp conditions here in Launceston. It's Hawthorn and North Melbourne round 16 action right here on ABC Sport. A big welcome to all our listeners right across the country, both via the traditional means and on digital as well. Chris Rowbottom is my name, with you in commentary this afternoon and into the evening alongside me on the play-by-play. A big welcome to Michael Maney. Hello, Mick.
G'day, Chris. G'day, everyone. Look, crisp, but not as crisp as the last time we were here, Chris. And I think that's got about another 8 or 9 degrees warmer than what that has. But it's still pretty chilly out there. North Melbourne, as you say, they're a little bit resurgent, and I guess it's their best chance to beat the Hawks in a little while. So they'll go into this game chock full of confidence after some recent good form. But the Hawks are hard to beat here, as we know. We don't come to York Park too often and walk away with the Hawks not getting the 4 points. But I think it's going to be a terrific game. They match up pretty well, and statistically a lot of things are very similar, but I guess position on the ladder is the thing is most important.
Last time they met here at York Park, it was Hawthorn by 124 points in the last round of 2024. Our expert for this afternoon, one of the all-time greats of Australian football and a man who loves a trip to Lonnie, coaching legend Mick Malthouse. Hello to you, Mick.
G'day, Chris, Mick, and our listeners. It should be an intriguing match. There's no question about that. It's interesting. Our ABC show at lunchtime, we spoke to Alistair Clarkson, and there was a hint of, certainly not overconfidence by any stretch, more the case that he thinks now he can start to develop game structure. He reckons that the first couple of years, and particularly even this year, he had to work on skills right through up until the opening game. And now, because they're starting to find their feet and find their positions, he can start to work on what he wants them to do. It's as much as we'd like to think there's going to be a Cinderella story here. The Hawks have got so much to lose. We've just been going through off air, going through the ladder, and we have Hawthorn currently in 7th position at 36 points, and GWS are in 9th position on 36 points. So this is an opportunity for Hawthorn to get that extra game, because their percentage is better than GWS, but it's not as good as Gold Coast, who are sitting a game in front of them. But also Gold Coast, of course, we know by the end of the year have to play that one-off game with Essendon. So it's almost like, and I'm not suggesting for one moment it's a walk-up start that they can beat Essendon, but Essendon by that stage will have nothing to play for, and Gold Coast, so you suspect that Gold Coast will flip positions on the ladder. So, and what we worked it out before, and with all due respect to all the other sides, we think there's only 9 in it right now, and 9 into 8 doesn't go. So there's a lot at stake for Hawthorn, but equally for North Melbourne's credibility. So it should be an intriguing game.
Every game so crucial from here on out until the end of the season. The 4th member of our commentary team is down on the boundary. It's Andrew Cooling. Drewy, welcome to you.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. It's around about 9 or 10 degrees, as you touched on. Reasonably chilly here. We expect that to drop as the evening goes on, but no wind to speak of. Slight dew factor about the ground, which might make things a little bit slippery, but otherwise pretty good conditions for the players. The subs for tonight's teams, there is no late change to either. Seamus Mitchell for the Hawks, and it's Robert Hansen Jr. for the Kangaroos.
Thanks, Drewy. So overcast and crisp, cool conditions here. Twilight footy in Launceston. The lights are already on, and already a little bit of push and shove in the middle of the ground as the players make their way out into their positions. Not a bad crowd in for Saturday afternoon footy right here on ABC Sport either. As the siren sounds, the ball is held aloft. It is round 16 action from right here at York Park. Hawthorn and North Melbourne for the opening bounce. You're with Michael Maynard.
Meek v Sherry. That will be pivotal this afternoon into the evening. Meek knocked it down. Nash just knocked it forward. Taken by Davies-Uniacke. Quick handball to McKercher. He's got a wheel, a right handball to Powell, who's slipped over. Now a chance for D'Ambrosio, but he is buried by the tackle from O'Sullivan. And the intent from North Melbourne right there from the get-go.
Yeah, great tackle. Wasn't that a head-on tackle? Took him to the ground. Oh, there's a North Melbourne player down already behind play. I'm not saying he's been whacked or anything, but he's certainly not. He's struggling.
Davies-Uniacke it is, Mick, and he's not got to his feet just yet. He's just on his haunches, on his knees.
So you hope it's only from the play, not knees or ankles or anything else. We'll see it here.
Oh, so it's Watson coming through.
Yeah, it's got him
collecting him with the forearm.
Yeah, it's got him in the stomach. I really don't go along with this stopping every time that someone falls over.
Since the Lockie Shorts thing, they've been a bit spooked, I think, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
Ball up, in goes Newcombe, but I think he's got Parker a little high. And Parker will win the free kick for the Kangas.
So Parker at right half back for North Melbourne. And there's a whistle here. There's a little bit going on off the ball, and this might be reversed, and it is. So this will be tossed into the hands of Jai Newcombe. So we'll get a little update on what's happened there behind the play as he played on to Carl Amon. His kick was smothered, but Newcombe will end up with it again. Little ball inside 50. Well, I'm not sure if it was intended for Ginnivan, but that's where it landed. 15-metre poke pass onto the chest of Jack, and he'll have a set shot for goal on a tidy shangle, 45 metres out.
Chris, I'm still bewildered with today's professional footballers who have probably 20 pairs of boots in their locker that they would wear something. That's come about because a North Melbourne player slipped over approaching the football.
Ginnivan crosses the pain of 50, improves the angle slightly, sets sail for home. And that is a nice first touch for Jack Ginnivan, who celebrates and puts Hawthorn on the board early in this first term. They're 1 straight 6, the Hawks. North Melbourne yet to score a couple of minutes in. A very, very interesting start. And some feeling in this one early, Mick Malthouse.
Oh, no doubt. As I said, I think it's a lot, means a lot to to Hawthorn. But equally, North can't make the 8, won't make the 8. But there's this pride factor, and the fact that you said, I thought it was 3 out of 4, but they've won 3 out of the last 5. Desperately unlucky the way they were playing against Fremantle. So they're not a mug side at all. And so you expect a bit of this, but I think that if I'm reading that play where the North Melbourne player went down, that could well be looked at because it happened sort of just off the play. So there will be a little bit of feeling in this game.
Might have been against a North Melbourne, a Simpkin on Meek, I feel. Back in the centre, Sherry knocks it down, does his own roving, does it really well. Got a quick handball to Parker, who's up and under left footer. Running with the flight is Morrison, takes the mark, and the run-off man is Impey. Impey goes long down the line. It flicks over the back. Pink can't get there with his fingertips. Chol races after it, and it is a boundary throw-in. It's about 35, 40 metres out from the Hawthorn goal. Right half forward, in front of the scoreboard on the outer side.
One of the most improved players, young Pink. I watched him. He's progressed. He played on Kuno last week and kept him goalless.
He's had a nice run of it, has Toby Pink. Sherry from the ball in. Daniel just led with his head. Nash with a quick handball out to Meek. Meek got clear, then got it to Ginnivan, who's taken in the tackle, and there will be a ball up about 25 metres out. There is some feeling in this game. They're pushing, they're shoving. Both teams know how important it is. North want to get another scalp, and the Hawks need to win.
Yeah, there's some fire in the bellies of both of these teams as Luke Davies-Uniacke clears the ball from the defensive 50 for North Melbourne. Contest. It falls the way of Larkey. He's immediately wrapped up by Weddle. Curtis come flashing through. Now there's a player running and streaming inside 50 in Zurhaar. 25-metre handball to a good position. Zurhaar ran onto it, had 2 Hawks to contend with. Blake Hardwick was one of them. He ripped him down and dispossessed him. Hawthorn numbers arrive. Amon now with the clearing ball out of the left back pocket finds Weddle. Hawthorn survive A little scare from the Roos. Weddle holds things up at left half back. He's got D'Ambrosio to his left. He uses him by hand and he strokes the ball towards left half forward. Getting up was Ramsden, unable to bring it down. Logue off the pack, shares it with McKercher, the hometown lad. He tries to bite off a risky ball into the middle of the ground. Impey contests and takes a really good mark right in the middle of York Park. As Parker, who he rose above and managed to beat in the air, goes wide to McDonald. And D'Ambrosio runs shotgun, receives the handball, tries to just lace a ball inside forward 50, but it's misguided, and Caleb Daniel gets in the way and takes the defensive mark.
They do like the ball in the hands of D'Ambrosio. They wait for him to run to space and then they give it to him. So the Kangaroos on the outer side. It's Dawson. Goes high. Meek gets back. One grab. Couldn't take the mark. Barris was there. Handball to Nash. Nash quickly to Morrison. By hand to Ward, who signed a new contract during the week. Kicks it high. Up goes Pink. Tries to knock it away more. Lovely handball away to McDonald. To Gunston, who rolls it through. The Hawks get another. They're 2 straight 12. The Kangas yet to score. They've barely been in 50 for about 30 seconds. 25 make that. And the Hawks, through Gunston, get another.
Just the mistake made by North Melbourne was on this wing in front of us. McKercher, I'm sure, was the one that come across and put the ball into the centre of the ground, hoping that North Melbourne player would mark it. He was 1v2. Hawthorn got the ball away. There was a bit of fiddling around with from in between, but the intent to take Hawthorn through the middle is a real dangerous. One is how they play this game and how they load up the centre. The other one was Zerha. Well, I know he's 1v2, but he had an opportunity to score, didn't. North Melbourne couldn't defend that ball in the back pocket, and Gunston knows where not only where the goals are, but also how to get to the ball.
29 goals on the season for the evergreen Jack Gunston, but it'll be North Melbourne with the clearing ball out of the middle on this occasion. High one inside forward 50. Pat forms. Barras at the fall of the ball, and Curtis lays a strong tackle on him, going nowhere, and forces a stoppage inside North Melbourne's attacking 50, 30 metres out from North Melbourne's goal. Meek and Sherry contest the ruck. Flashing through was Wardlaw, patted it down to himself, had to take on McKenzie, ripped out towards the boundary. What will the umpire say? He'll say it was holding the ball, and Cam McKenzie stopped the rampaging George Wardlaw and himself a free kick.
Shouldn't stop that play. That was fantastic by Wardlaw. Look, he's probably a year off, 2 years off his full body strength, but that's the way to hit the ball. Almost opened up Hawthorn's defence then.
Back in the team this afternoon is Cam McKenzie. Wins a free kick in the right back pocket. Kicks toward the outer wing. Off hands. Dylan Stevens is there. Tries to get it to Pink. They scramble after it at ground level. Hawthorn, very clever from Jack Ginnivan. Had the over-the-shoulder handball picked off, though, by McKercher, who worked it back to McDonald. Just throws it on the boot towards left half forward. McKenzie flies again over the top of Wardlaw. Ward arrives and brings Wardlaw down. We'll have the ball up left half forward for North Melbourne, 65 metres out from goal.
4-1 inside the front 50s. In fact, I reckon it's probably a bit light. I reckon there was 2. Yeah, it is 2. 4-2.
Meek and Sherry. Nash there. Ward just jammed it on his left boot. Might get past Dawson. Ramsden just kept it in front of him. Ginnivan couldn't collect it. Nicely done by McKercher. McKercher with that left boot. Kicks it high. Curtis can't get a run at it. Worked him under the football, did Hardwick, and took a lovely chest mark and then feeds it by foot to Ward. He's on the outer side wing and had Ginnivan on in a bit of space. True centre wing outer side.
It's a good matchup, Hardwick against Curtis. Curtis a very, very creative player. Hardwick just hard-nosed, just won't let him have any room.
Ginnivan told to get on with it. Sits it up high, goes down the line. Chol's got a fly and takes a good mark. Up against Dawson. Chol goes with a spear to the pocket, looking for Gunston, but Simpkin got back in the gap and took a lovely intercept mark.
Last line of defence for North Melbourne. Hemmed in the left back pocket is Jai Simpkin, called to play on. He'll go one way, then the other, and cut him board, and eventually was just shoved off his kick at the last moment. It Meant that he was able to clear the defensive 50, but to not much in particular. Constanti's now got a problem on his hands as he deals with two Hawks on the outside. Jaff come up with it, but his handball was a shocker. Straight to Paul Curtis. Drills one to half forward where Darling just waits and then puts the skates on his opponent in battle. Able to kick inside 50. This will be a free kick going the way of Larkey.
Yeah.
Barras just all over him, took him to ground, and Larkey earns himself a free. 25 metres out directly in front.
Well done by Larkey, because he knew that he was being pushed back away from the ball. What he did, he closed in on the ball. Barras then was forced to have to make a decision. Does he go to the ball or does he turn his body? Wrong decision.
So Nick Larkey from almost point-blank range pops it through for North Melbourne's first of the afternoon. They're on the board. 1 straight 6 are the Roos. They trail the Hawks 2 straight 12. 10 minutes gone. First term Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Mick Malthouse.
Oh, good game of football so far. There's differences on the ladder. One's in the 8, the other one won't make the 8. But right now, Hawthorn have made the most of opportunities, but so too have North Melbourne. Well, North Melbourne have had 3 opportunities and scored from 1. So that'll flip around at some stage. Jack Darling then, I've been critical of Jack Darling, but that bit of work on the half-forward flank then to be able to turn his man around and get the ball in deep, knowing that Larkey, he put Larkey in the best position to get that. So well done Jack Darling, well done to Larkey, well done to North Melbourne. Inside 50s at the moment, it's pretty even.
2 straight 12 to 1 straight 6. Hawthorn lead. The two spearheads with a goal each, and they've both got 29 for the season. Gunston and Larkey back in the centre. Meek just slipped and might have got a palm down. Here comes Watson. Watson's in the centre stoppage. Goes with a little handball. He is electric. Then gets it to Newcomb. Newcomb back to Watson. Watson might kick a wonderful goal. He does. That is absolutely sensational from the Wizard. He took off and there was no one in this ground that was catching him. And he kicks a wonderful running goal. Hats off to Sam Mitchell. Get him in the guts, and away he went.
Outstanding. You go a long, long way to watch a goal like that. That just for those that may be not watching and listening to us, come out of the centre square. He contested the centre square bounce. Took it, run through, a couple of hand passes, missed the ball, ran onto it, gathered it under pressure. He's taken one bounce hand pass, didn't get the best of hand passes, and then run onto it and just nailed the goal from about 15 to 20 metres out. Just outstanding bit of play. That's how you break defences up. So they don't know whether to go at you or drop back onto your man.
Absolutely electric from the Wizard Watson. One of the goals of the season so far out of the centre bounce. As quick as a flash as we restart in the middle. There's a whistle here. It's going to be a Hawthorn free kick. Go the way of Lord Meek by the looks of things. So Tristan Sherry.
Well, he must be wondering why, because he was the one that got grabbed. Can't work that free kick out at all.
A little bit of ruck lotto as we've become accustomed to. The short ball is good to aim on. He's on the front of the centre square. Just strokes one inside 50 with the left boot. Kick to a 2-on-1. Dylan Moore is outgunned. It's off hands and over for a ball in. Right forward pocket for the Hawks. 3 straight 18 Hawthorn. North Melbourne 1 straight 6. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Chris Robert and Michael Maney. Mick Malthouse and Andrew Cooling with you throughout the afternoon. Sherry gets down low, contests the ruck contest, took it out of the ruck, handball to nobody in particular. Pink's handball missed everybody. Powell in there as well. Ends up in a Hawthorn jumper. Now Sheasel, he's tackled as he tried to find a teammate. Ball spills loose and now it's Newcomb. Brings it under his spell eventually, but wanted Jaff. The boundary line came first and over it goes. Another ball in. 65 metres around from the right hand behind post. Hawthorn attacking zone.
Yeah, Hawthorn have got the play behind the ball to the extra, which roundabout now he gets rounded up by a North Melbourne player to make it even across the forward line, but they're quite prepared to give that player up when the ball's in the back 50 North Melbourne.
Holding free kicks going to Newcomb from the boundary throw in, so Newcomb will kick inside 50. Meeks there, flies, can't take it, over the back, Gunston, snap on goal, is a goal, is it a free kick to Hawthorn, advantage paid, Gunston gets his second, the Hawks have got 4 straight, 24, North Melbourne 1 straight 6, didn't see the free kick, but Gunston had the awareness and popped through his second.
Gunston is one of those players, been around long enough to know the fall of the ball. If it doesn't fall that way, he rolls his shoulders and goes, okay, it'll come back again. The 2 goals he's kicked are both been experienced goals. He's just sitting behind the pack there, no one there. His opponent left him to get to the where the ball was falling, and hangs on, stays the course. Ball falls to back. One touch, grabs, turns, and there's no one in the goal square, so just knocks it over. A hint to the North Melbourne player playing on him: get in behind him and work him up the ground. Don't fall for playing in front, because you'll get done over every day of the week.
4 straight plays, 1 straight. Hawthorn out to an early 18-point advantage, and they'll go again here out of the middle. Kick was partially smothered off the boot of John Newcomb. Chol's been injected into the middle of the ground. Tried to just soccer it out to Morrison, but he got himself tangled up. Roos will come away with it now through Powell. He shares it with Darling, who lost his footing. Handball into the path of Simpkin, confronted by Jaff. Got rid of him, back into the traffic. Now he's got Daniel. He releases Wardlaw. They're on the front of the centre square here, the Roos, and 2 players go on over. What's going on, Mick Malthouse? They go over again inside forward 50 for the Roos. Picked up by Sullivan, rolls one towards goal, and O'Sullivan misses. A minor score for the Roos, and slipping and sliding everywhere out there. Saw the SCG last night, and York Park, normally an immaculate surface.
It does, Michael and Chris, it does look a little bit dewy. There's a lot of players going over, so I'm suspecting that it is fairly heavily dewy at the moment.
Does get slippery. Amon kicks wide out to half-back, and the mark taken by Ramsden, whose handball goes to D'Ambrosio, who waits the kick beautifully for Gunston, who flew a little early, but then just takes it out of play for a boundary throw-in. Just misjudged it for a second or two, did Gunston. Had an opportunity and a boundary throw-in. It's about 80 metres from goal. Hawthorn's attacking part of the ground on the broadcast wing. Ramsden against Darling. Ball just floats over the back without him getting handled. Not taken by Impey. Impey kicks it long. Chol's going to fly. The chest mark from Mabior. He had his name written all over it, and he took the chest mark, and he'll shoot from about 30 metres out slight angle. Well,
North Melbourne are getting slaughtered by not playing directly on their man. Child had a real run at that without any interference. We've seen Gunston kick 2 easy goals. Logue is one defender who is giving far too much room to either one of his opponents he's had so far.
25 goals, 9 on the season for Mabior, to take it out to 23 points. He pops it through with ease. That laconic walk in, couple of steps, another goal to the Hawks, and they move to 5 goals straight. 30 North 117. We've gone 17.5 first term.
Yeah, it's not flash at the moment. 50 disposal of 38. Inside 9-4, but they're making the most of that 9. They've kicked 5 goals straight from 9 entrances. That's danger signs automatically. We've got such a long way to go for the rest of this quarter. Kicking efficiency is pretty much the same. Free kicks, well, North are trailing there. Hit outs well and true, which is really interesting that Jerry's been beaten by Meek. It's 7-3. The clearances are just getting smashed. Hawks are winning that 10-3. So all over the place at the moment. Contested football's Hawthorn's way. So North need to be able to get their hands dirty and start to slow the game down a bit.
5 of the first 6 for the Hawks. Back in the middle we go. Luke Davies-Uniacke bounces off Cam McKenzie and now bounds away. Takes a bounce and drills North Melbourne inside 50 to the leading Zerha on the charge. He marks on his chest. He'll kick from about 50 metres out if he elects to take a shot. He's on a pretty tight angle, about 5 metres in from the boundary line. And right half forward is Cam Zerha.
I just saw a great sign then. He took that mark, Zerha. I looked around and 6 Hawthorn players run into the back 50 and only 2 North Melbourne players.
27 goals on the season for Zerha, right on the paint. Distance, no trouble whatsoever. It just drifts late and crashes into the post. It looked beautiful off the boot, but a minor score only for Cam Zerha. North Melbourne go to 1-2-8, trailing Hawthorn 5 straight 30. 18 minutes gone, first turn.
Hawks bring it in, go to half back, and it rolls out of play. It'll be a boundary throw in right in front of the broadcast box. Hawthorn 5 straight 30, North Melbourne 1-2-8. It's been pretty much all the Hawks in this first term, as Mick Malthouse said, really on top around the stoppages, using the football well and, importantly, kicking accurately. Boundary throw in. Sherry might have got a little tap on that. McDonald for Hawthorn over the back. And McKercher can't get out of the tackle. And another ball up. Good crowd in. Not as many as last time we were here for the Crows game. Free kick is going to Sherry. Might have copped one over the shoulder. Another one of those ruck free kicks that we're not quite sure of. Daniel came racing past from Sherry, but decided not to give it to him. So the big man on centre wing kicks inside 50. Larkey got buffeted out of there. No free kick. Sheasel couldn't get on the end of it. Little handball out comes from the Hawks. Picked up by Hardiman. He can't get it to a teammate. Hawks defending grimly. And the umpire says free kick to North.
Yeah, had his head over the ball. I think he got a high one. Either that or was it a kick off the ground? Interesting to see what they paid there, whether it be the boot or the shoulder.
Harry Sheasel's the man who's ended up with the footy.
It was either one. There was a couple of free kicks there.
And just held slightly without the footy impeded, I think.
Is that what it was?
The call. Wasn't that much in it, but it was there. Sheasel will kick from 35 metres out. Very, very slight angle. Lays back on the kick and tugs it to the left. He misses. He's one of the most skilled by foot in the comp, Harry Sheasel, and he misses a very gettable goal. 139 the Kangas. Hawthorn 5 straight 30. We've gone 21 minutes first term.
3 goals, 7 on the season now for Harry Sheasel, and he plays a golden opportunity. A risky kick in from Carl Amon, put Barras under the pump, and now it's a contested ball inside North Melbourne's forward 50. Little flick up, he wasn't getting away with that. Paul Curtis. It was up to Larkey, and that was deemed a throw.
Was it tapped up or was it grabbed and basketball hit up? I mean, I'd like to see that again. I just think he's a bit sharper than the umpire.
Hawthorn free kick. Umpire said it was a throw. He scooped it.
Scooped, right.
Now it's Newcombe off to Watson. They move it towards left half forward to the Hawks. Ramsden the target in a one-on-one with Pink. He got hands to it, but unable to bring it under his control. It spills over for a ball in. 65 metres around from the left-hand behind post. Hawthorn attacking zone. 21 minutes gone. Hawks lead 5 straight 30 to North Melbourne's 1-3-9. Good crowd in, as Michael Maney mentioned, on a brisk Launceston evening. In it comes Sherry and Meek, 2 big boys. Go at it. They go at it at ground level as well. Meeky pounced on the Sherry, I should say, pounced on the footy, and Meek pounced on him. All wrapped up. So a stoppage. Meek gets to the front, down to Connor Nash, who just somehow gets boot to ball with a 15-metre kick inside 50. McDonald come flashing through, got it to Nash somehow, who got it back to McDonald, who rolls one on goal, and he's missing to the near side. So first blemish for the Hawks. In fact, it was Butler, 5-1-31 to North Melbourne's 1-3-9, 22.5 gone.
Just had to quickly get it on his boot. Here's Caleb Daniel, takes the mark from the kick in and kicks it wide, but then turns it over, and Jaff takes the mark on the wing on the outer side.
Full kick then by Daniel.
Jaff unopposed, then runs his full measure, kicks long, inside 50. Meek can't take the mark, flicks over the back. Ginnivan's there. Luke McDonald smart enough to get it to the line. It'll be a boundary throw in about 20 metres out from the Hawthorn goal, just in the right forward pocket. 5-1-31 the Hawks, North 1-3-9. Another opportunity to score. Meek and Sherry. Meek knocked it down. Sharked by Davies Uniacke. The kick almost marked by Nash. Little handball comes out here at D'Ambrosio. He's 45 metres out. Shoots at goal and hooks it badly. Behind. 5-2-32. Hawthorn 1-3-9. The Kangas 23.5 first term.
Clearance is a real problem at the moment. It's 11-5 for a good clearing side. They're getting stitched up, North Melbourne, and that's half the problem at the moment.
McKercher out of full back, put his man Griffin Logue under the pump a little bit. There's Watson flying over the top to knock it out of play, so Hawthorn force the ball in. Left half forward, Copy McKercher, of course, Launceston lad. We're up 5 minutes up the road from this very ground. He'd have some friends and family in, no doubt, this evening. out of the ruck contest. Davies Uniacke shares it with Luke Parker, who just dumps it up the line. They go at it underneath it. Both players went to ground battling Zerha. The handball was misguided, and over it goes right in front of the interchange benches.
Much better clearance that time by North, and that's why the ball's now on the wing. It's a neutral zone because the positioning was so good, and Jerry got in front. Boundary throws has fallen short.
And it comes once again. Sherry attempts to take it out of the ruck on this occasion. Newcombe comes on through. He hassled Parker. His handball was picked off. It ended up with Meek, who wasn't quite sure where to go. Just dumped it to half forward eventually. Ginnivan stood underneath the foot. He took the mark. Some late contact by Logue. Umpire said nothing doing. Ginnivan now plays onto the running Impey, who has a shot on the fly from 50 and can't quite get it to work. A minor score. Hawthorn extend the margin by 1. 5-3-33 to North Melbourne's 1-3-9. 6 minutes remaining in this first term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Quickly back in and down to the wing for the Kangas. Larkey and Barris. Larkey just slipped out the back door, did it nicely. He's got a problem now with Jath. Handball inboard to Fisher. Fisher now lines them up, kicks long. It's a good looking kick. He's kicked it. He might have been dumped after he kicked it too, but Zach Fisher gets the Kangas second. Nice little chain from the defensive zone for North Melbourne, and Fisher ending up with it and kicking the goal on the run. 2-3-15 the Kangas. Hawthorn 5-3-33. We've gone almost 26 first term.
Well, there's only 3 ways you can score in football: turnover, stoppage and kick-in. And that come directly from the kick-in, as you said, Michael, and it was beautifully done, particularly finding Larkey out the back. Larkey was able to get support inside the ground. So normally what we've seen so far, that the one-on-one, 1v2 North Melbourne players before line have to battle that way, but there was a one-on-one, ball got flicked out by him into Fisher's area, and he finished off a beautiful goal.
It was an exquisite finish on the run from Zach Fisher. Back to 18. Back in the middle we go. There's a holding free kick. It'll go the way of the Hawks. Connor Nash, the beneficiary. So right on the bullseye. In the middle of York Park. He had Impey running to his left. Opted to just pump it inside off his own steam. Ramsden flew off hands. Shees will come flashing past. He got it to McKercher. He got it to Simpkin. Little kick to a contest. Jath was there. He broke it up. Fisher, the goal kicker, was knocked over the boundary line. Jath won the day. Then got it off to Amon, who just tried to nurse a little kick inside 50, but with desperation, it was Luke McDonald flying across with a double fist, knocking it out of bounds and over for another ball in. Right where the 50-metre line meets the boundary. Hawthorn attacking zone. Left half forward.
Don't expect any different from McDonald. Fantastic defence there. Took no chances, just put it over the boundary line and went back and grabbed his play next to his man.
Played the percentages from the boundary throw in. Sherry, originally Meek, almost grabbed it, and then Sherry was back in again, but it's caught underneath those 2 players, and the umpire says give it to me. Right on the paint of 50. Hawthorn in attack. Sherry knocks it down. Be sharked by Nash, who surprisingly fell over. They've all been doing that. Here's Newcombe. Got a handball back to Ward. Ward with a hurried kick to the hot spot. Can't take it. Hardiman can't grab it. Taken by McDonald of Hawthorn. A nice little kick right out into wide open spaces. Morrison, well done by Logue. Morrison was about to grab that ball, and Logue just kept on going and knocked it away, and it might just fall to Fisher, but now it might tumble out. Now Barris got it to Moore, who tried to underground handball to Ramsden, and it went out of play. It'll be a boundary throw-in. Logue did very well there, Mick.
Absolutely outstanding. He's virtually carried that football, punched the ball on from back pocket to the wing, cleared the area, and the spoil for a start-off was outstanding.
Ball in, just forward of a wing, out of side for the Hawks. Morrison missed his boot. It came out to Newcombe from Ward, who kicked around the body towards half forward, and here's Logue again enjoying a good patch.
Yeah.
Takes the one-on-one mark and saves the day for the Roos.
He's a good player, Logue. Very good player.
No football, beyond defensive 50. Wanted O'Sullivan. Newcombe got across to affect the marking contest. Got it out of play for a ball in, right on centre wing out of side.
I'm glad to see Larkey playing up the ground, not locking himself in the 15, 20 metres out. Noticed last night, Norton did the same, got up the ground a bit as opposed to getting stuck down. He's so easy defended.
Meek got himself to the front. Parker and His Roos teammates work it out. Stevens on the outside. Little ball to Davies-Uniacke was good. They can build from here. Can the Kangaroos? Curtis Marks at left half forward. Drills one inside, but it was a little low. It was a little fast, and it was a little off target because Barris got in front of Larkey and took the saving mark inside defensive 50 for the Hawks.
Barris just off a step. Gets it really high. Meek worked under it. Nash almost took the mark. Now Davies-Uniacke, handball away to Powell. Powell's back to Davies-Uniacke, who spotted a player in the centre of the ground, was McKercher, but he's found Wizard, the Wizard. He goes with a real high floating ball looking for Gunston, who's got to do some work against Pink, and then handball back beautifully. Ward just steps, curls it around and tried to bounce it through. Gee, they missed an opportunity there. Watson's kick wasn't perfect for Gunston, and Ward gets it behind. Hawthorn 5-4-34, North 2-3-15. They've mucked it up.
Well, Michael, they've done that twice now. I don't mean Hawthorn. North Melbourne mucked it up by trying to chew off too much and coming across the ground. You're easily picked off.
Daniel to McDonald, now to the outer wing where Sherry stands tall, takes the mark, shares it with Powell, and now Parker on the outside for North Melbourne. Outside of the boot kick, inside forward 50. Tumbler here for Hardwick, manages to bring it under his control, and he's got a man on the out, and it's Dylan Moore. They can go now, the Hawks. He pops it over the top to D'Ambrosio. He's got some time and space on the near wing. Takes a bounce and then goes with the left boot towards left half forward. Ginnivan best place, just nudged Pink underneath it. Played on immediately by hands of McDonald, who gave it back to Watson. Now the kick inside 50 from the Wizard. It was off target, and Sherry gets back in the hole and takes the marks. Taking the chances are the Hawks in this last couple of minutes, and if Melbourne can rebound beyond defensive 50, a free kick on the outer side.
Well done by Cherry to get back into that centre half forward area where the ball was never going to come. I know Meek was near him, but that's really well worked by North Melbourne. Defensively, they've been, the first 10 minutes they were all over the shop. The last 10 minutes have been very, very impressive.
Parker with the free kick against Morrison on the outer side wing. His kick can't find Zerha, and it floats out of play. 31.5 gone, first term. Hawthorn 5-4-34. North 2-3-15. Couple of poor kicks from Nick Watson after that brilliant running goal. He's not been able to get the kicking boots back on. North slightly in attack. On the throw in, Meek knocked it down. Nicely done by Newcomb. Handball away to Morrison. Ward, quick hands to Amon. Amon just puts a stretch on them and then had a bounce and then kicks inside 50. Watson might have been looking for a free kick, and I think he's got one for a bit of front-on work against McDonald, and Watson will line them up from 30 metres out directly in front.
Well, silly play. I just praised him up just before McDonald. He had no time did he look at the ball. And all he needed to do was turn his head, and he actually could have even marked the football. But the biggest problem at the moment for North Melbourne is definitely this clearances. That's another clearance from the half-back line. The ball gets pushed through the middle, and inevitably one of the forwards takes a mark or a free kick.
Watson from 30 metres out directly in front, and that is going along with the way he's been kicking in the last 7 or 8 minutes. He just pushed that off the side of the boot for a behind. And the Hawks 5-5-35, North 2-3-15.
That was not pretty from the Wizard. North Melbourne kick out from full back off the hands of Sherry at left half back. They contested at ground level. Ward's had a bit of it so far this term. His handball was a little slick for Ginnivan. He's set upon by a couple of North Melbourne players. We'll have a ball up at left half forward.
It was a little bit Jed Walterish, that one, wasn't it, from the Wizard?
Poked at it, just slewed off the side of the boot. It's kicking one of the goals of the season earlier in the term, off hands and over for another ball in. That's what the mercurial players are like, though. When they hit, they really hit. So inside the final minute of this first term, Hawthorn with a 20-point advantage, 5-2, first term so far. Nick and Sherry contest once again. Nash arrives on the scene, back into the path of Sherry, and he's all locked up. Another ball up. Left half forward. Hawthorn attacking zone. And they pinch one. With 44 seconds remaining in the term. Newcomb got boots of ball. Ginnivan was clever with the hands. Here's Ward again. Left foot ball on goal. Sliding across the face. There was half a fly down there from the Wizard Watson. It goes over for a minor score.
Actually, I think they played a free kick.
Unrealistic attempt, I think, Chris.
They have.
So Hardiman with the free for the Kangas. Long quarter this. Kick down the line. Barris just got in position A. Fisher, who kicked a goal earlier in the quarter, did pretty well. Handball over the top. It's still in play close to the line. Barris did well. Handball comes from the Hawks now, taken by Newcomb. And Newcomb's kick just runs out of real estate. Ramsden couldn't get on the end of it. Amon was the man with the handball a moment ago. And it looks like Dawson is going to get the resultant free kick. 34 and a half minutes or more we've been going. Dawson goes long. Getting back was Jaff, and there's the siren to complete the first quarter of this match at York Park, which sees Hawthorn 5-5-35 to the Kangaroos 2-3-15. Goal kickers for the Hawks. It is Gunston with 2, and then singles to Ginnivan, Watson and Chol. And for North Melbourne, Larkey and Fisher have their goals, but it is a 20-point lead to the Hawks. Michael Malthouse. We might just go to a break. It is quarter time. 5-5-35. The Hawks. North 2-3-15.
The ABC Listen app has it all. The British and Irish Lions Tour of Australia, Wimbledon, and West Indies versus Australia. Oh, and did I mention we're doing the footy every weekend? ABC Sport on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Newcomb will end up with it again. Little ball inside 50. Well, I'm not sure if it was intended for Ginnivan, but that's where it landed. Tidy shangle. Ginnivan crosses the pain of 50, improves the angle slightly, sets sail for home. That is a nice first touch for Jack Ginnivan, who celebrates and puts Hawthorn on the board early in this first term.
By hand of Ward, who signed a new contract during the week. Kicks it high, up goes Pink, tries to knock it away more. Lovely handball away to McDonald, to Gunston, who rolls it through. The Hawks get another.
Darling just waits and then puts the skates on his opponent in battle. Able to kick inside 50. This will be a free kick going the way of Larkey.
Yeah.
Barras just all over him, point blank range, pops it through for North Melbourne's first of the afternoon. They're on the board.
Meek just slipped and might have got a palm down. And here comes Watson. Watson's in the centre stoppage. Goes with a little handball. He is electric. Then gets it to Newcomb. Newcomb back to Watson. Watson might kick a wonderful goal. He does. That is absolutely sensational from the Wizard.
You go a long, long way to watch a goal like that. Just outstanding bit of play.
Meek's there, flies, can't take it over the back. Gunston, snap on goal. Is a goal. Is it a free kick to Hawthorn? Advantage paid. Gunston gets his second. The Hawks have got 4. Larkey just slipped out the back door, did it nicely. He's got a problem now with Jaff. Handball inboard to Fisher. Fisher now lines them up, kicks long. It's a good-looking kick. He's kicked it. He might have been dumped after he kicked it too, but Zach Fisher gets the Kangas second.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Yes, it's the battle of the Tasmanian Tenants, Hawthorn and North Melbourne in Launceston this evening. We are 1 quarter down and Hawthorn hold a 20-point advantage over the Roos, 5-5-35. The Hawks playing North Melbourne's 2-3-15. Nick Watson kicked one of the goals of the season, breaking out of the centre bounce, taking a couple of bounces, sharing a handball and pumping one through the Invermaid Park end. A couple of other highlights as well. The second quarter coming up for you in just a moment. Chris Rowbottom with you on the call. Michael Maney alongside me. Andrew Cooling's on the boundary. And Mick Malthouse is working his way through the stats and the analysis. What did you like? What did you not like out of that first term, Mick?
What I do like is the way Hawthorn cleared the football for a start off. They lead that area 19-9. So if there's going to be, 17-8, inside 50s are 19-9. So it almost corresponds with the number of times your clearances that you get in the ball inside 50. That is quite common through AFL. It's quite surprising that those two are so linked. But what it does give you is opportunity. Well, I think North Melbourne have had 3 distinct opportunities where the ball they haven't scored at all when one was Zaha, just almost in an open goal, but just had too much of a. I guess the Hawthorn player just knew what he was going to do next, and he ran to a roadblock. Larkey kicked a goal from a snap that was deemed a throw. So you've got to make the most of it. Hawthorn probably made the most of them early, and then I think they may have been 5 goals before they scored a point. Now they're 5 goals, 5. But the dominance there's a few factors that you like. Clearances, yep, Hawthorn are well and truly on top. But contested football, if you add your clearances and your contested football together and they're on top, it's very rare that you're going to be behind. Clearances, well and truly, as I say, Hawthorn, and contested football, which is really amazing, 42 to 32, doesn't sound a big difference. But that 10 extra is quite telling. It just simply means that Hawthorn are either getting more numbers there, which they are, a little bit harder at it, which they are, and when they do get it, they clear it out of that area and they're giving their forwards opportunities. They've scored 10 times from 19 entrances, which is, I know it's just over 50%, but that's quite damning when you've gone in 19 times. So right now, if the game goes like this, there's no hope for North Melbourne, but you know that you can look at things at quarter time and maybe clean things up. They've got a good ruckman, they've got some good clearance players. If they can bring it back to and we'll take this quarter by itself, if they can bring that back to 50-50 at the clearances, then you generally find that might equate to inside 50s about the same. And they've got a good forward line in North Melbourne, but they've got to get the football in there. So Alistair Clarkson, I think he'll be working overtime on the clearances.
The voice of Mick Malthouse, Saturday footy on ABC Sports. Second term almost all set to get underway. Earlier today, Gold Coast beat Melbourne by 19 points, 104 to 85, to just tighten things inside the top 8. Hawthorn hoping to strike back and cement their place inside the top half of the ladder. They have a 20-point lead here in Launceston as the ball is bounced to commence the second term. They go at it once again, slapped over the top by Parker in the direction of North Melbourne's goal, but Newcomb's going to emerge with the footy here. He's been busy so far early in this game. He shares it with Connor Nash, who arches the back, gets rid of a tackler. Now will pump the Hawthorn Football Club inside 50. In a battle, it was Moore. It was off hands down to McKercher, and he put his teammate under the pump. Moore followed up with a brilliant tackle, and he'll lock it up inside forward 50 for the Hawks. 45 metres out from their goal. They have 5 on the board. Up it goes. Sherry tried to get it down to Stevens. It was through his hands. Gunston ended up with it. Just shook Toby Ping. Got onto the right boot. Snapped around the body and missed to the near side. So Hawthorn opened their account for the second term. They got a 5-6-36, leading North Melbourne 2-3-15. Early stages of the second.
Yeah, Pink hasn't touched the football yet. Needs to get involved. He's been around the football a heck of a lot. Just hasn't been able to get that loose football. Admittedly, he's there to stop players, but you still need to run from your back line.
Caleb Daniel plays on. It ends up with Logue. He's just outside defensive 50. In a bit of trouble. Had to feed it back by hand to Daniel, who found McKercher by foot. McKercher, this time the kick across is okay to centre-half back. And Dylan Stevens doesn't know what to do, and then it's going to feed it back to McDonald. Almost closed down by Morrison, who moved on the mark then, but no free kick. Here's McKercher again, getting busy that time. I think I've seen Colby kick too many bad ones, but that wasn't too good. It floated out of bounds on the full, under no pressure as well. And a free kick to the Hawks. It'll go to battle.
And can I also just say, North Melbourne, even that bit of play there, they were back and forth across the ground, not advancing forward. That gives Hawthorn a chance to sit up behind them.
Battle goes down the line. Ramsden couldn't take the mark. Tidied up by Daniel, who almost slipped over. There's been a few slips tonight. He feeds it back to Dawson, who's got McDonald right on the line at half back, and McDonald goes short. So North probably come out here just trying to get some uncontested possessions and try and work the Hawks over a bit. Sherry takes the mark and kicks it long down the line. No one can take it. Ball thumped down. Ramsden got to do the roving. Quick hands. It was chopped off. Now a chance for Larkey. He slips over. Goodness me, they're all doing it. Morrison comes in with a tackle. Impey. Handball back to Newcomb, who gets it to Nash, who's got Ginnivan.
Ginnivan pokes a pass inside. It's a good one to Morrison, who marks On centre wing on the near side. He goes into the middle of the ground. He just skids it to Impey, put him under a heap of pressure. He was good enough to feed it up to Amon. And now Weddle on the loose on the outer side. He can get it and go. Takes a bounce. Goes inside 50 for the Hawks. They've got players out absolutely everywhere. And it'll be Chol who gets on the end of this one. Takes the mark. 20-30 metres out from goal on a reasonably tight angle, but very, very kickable indeed for Marbior. Jack Gunston was also streaming back towards goal. And his pick of the litter did Josh Weddle.
Yeah, he had so much choice. That's the difference between the two sides at the moment. One is going forward, the other one's going sideways. North's goals have come from going forward, so I don't know why they persist in going sideways, especially with a slippery ground.
Deliberate approach from Marbior Chol, one for the evening already. Leans back on this one, and as soon as it left the leather off his boot, he knew that was splitting the middle. Kicks truly for goal number 2 in the first of this second term. Hawthorn extend the lead. 6-6-42 the Hawks. North Melbourne 2-3-15, 3.5 gone second term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Chris Robot and Michael Maney, Andrew Cooling and Mick Malthouse.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to get stats up for one quarter of the time. I'm struggling for my additions, but nonetheless, just by sight, without looking at stats, North Melbourne probably this quarter have had as much football, but it's been going back and forth across the half-back line. At some stage, you'll be rushed, you'll give the ball up. It's exactly what took place. The next kick that went in, Hawthorn were able to gather it, work the ball through the corridor, and because North players were out of position, the Hawthorn player, Weddle, had opportunities to 1 of 3, and he picked the right teammate.
27-point lead to the Hawks. Meek down to Butler, who's in the centre square. Now to Newcomb, who's playing some sort of a game. Ramsden, almost took the juggling mark. He might get a free, Big Maxi. He's just outside attacking 50. Thought about the handball to Ginnivan, but now that's closed off. And Ramsden, who has taken a while to develop for the Hawks, but have given him a little run here for a few rounds. Now he kicks high, inside 50, up they fly. Chol's in the middle of that, kicked off the ground almost by Gunston. Now Chol, handball out, looking for Morrison. Morrison's got to tap it for Ginnivan. Ginnivan's normally clever here. Now he just centres it up and squares it. Up they fly, no one can take the mark. Falls at the back to Impey. Impey's got to try and find some space. Guess what? Slipped over. Can't get rid of the footy. And then he might be pinged for holding the ball. They are falling over all over the place. They're like an ice rink.
Yeah, it's wet and slippery and dewy here in Launceston.
And there's 3 kicks and we're still back in the 50.
North Melbourne share it around. Pink and now Daniel. They're going to go back inside defensive 50 again here.
4 kicks, worse.
Dawson.
4 kicks and a hand pass.
Back to Daniel. Does receive the hand pass and now goes up the chute into the middle of the ground, but it's to nobody in particular. Newcomb might have been held off the footy. Umpire said no. It's spilled out in front of Curtis, who just swung his leg at it. Got some connection, but only as far as Battle. Picked it up on the bounce. Kicked towards the near wing. 1-on-1 contest between Morrison and Simpkin. Morrison brought it down to Butler, then received the handball and then stroked the pass to right half forward where Connor McDonald awaited. And guess who's out the back? This time it's Ramsden. So every time Hawthorn are going forward, they seem to have loose men inside 50. And Connor McDonald on this occasion was able to play a little bit of goal kicker lotto. And it was Max Ramsden whose number came up. He'll take a set shot from almost directly in front, 20 metres out.
Replay the tape if you like. Going back and forth, rush the ball forward. North players are out of position. Hawthorn aren't. They're watching the ball. They have a line of players up. And now they find the ball, 15 metres out.
Hasn't kicked a goal in season 2025 as Max Ramsden, and he still hasn't kicked a goal. In fact, he was called to play on. He was rushed on the mark by Griffin Logue, and he had to take a couple of steps and just have his shot, but he missed. So that was a pretty interesting and bizarre set of events. Anyway, it's a minor score to the Hawks, who goes 6-7-43 to North Melbourne's 2-3-15.
A disturbing bout of the yips, says Max. So McKercher finds Sheasel, and away they go to O'Sullivan in the middle of Davies Uniacke, who's away in a flash. Davies Uniacke kicks it long, and he's got Larkey out the back. That is what Mick Malthouse has been calling for, this chippy stuff, and they finally just get a little bit of long kicking going to position, and Larkey's got a shot from 20 out.
So 3 kicks from fullback, or was this the 3rd kick? This will be the 4th kick from full. So the fullback kick, well, I'll wait for him to have his shot.
Here's Larkey from 20 metres out. That stabbing shot at goal, and he gets it. And the Kangas get their third. They're 3-3-21. Larkey's got a couple of those. And the Hawks 6-7-43. We've gone 8 minutes second term.
So it's 4 kicks. Fullback kicks it in. Marked. Run on. Kicked. Is there anything more simple? And one hand pass. There was one hand pass in that. To get the football in and catch your opponents one-on-one, or perhaps you might even be able to get in behind him like Larkey did. There's a lesson learnt. That's why Hawthorn are currently, 42 to 21, because they move the ball quick. North Melbourne, that's a lesson there. Don't get bogged down on a tacky ground where you might make a mistake by falling over. Get the ball moving.
Back to 22 points. As we go back into the middle, slam down into the turf. Sherry won the hit out. A free kick, though, somehow to Lloyd Meek. Just sort of stiff-armed him out of the contest, and that was deemed to be an infringement. So Hawks will get the free kick right on the bullseye. Inside 50 they go via the big boot of Lloyd Meek. Over the top came Logue. Sherry at the fall. Got it to McKercher. Swung onto his left boot. Kicks it high into the middle of the ground. Flying through was Wardlaw, unable to take the mark. Here's Jaff. Clean with the hands. Released McKenzie on the outside. Knocked off his kick as he sent the Hawks inside 50. G. Gunston from 3 deep. Almost took a hanger, but Wizard with the finish. Waves his wand. Casts a spell and kicks goal number 2. Jack Gunston set it up, flying from way deep in the pack, but Wizard was the man on the spot and automatically deletes the Nick Larkey goal. Brings the margin back out to 28 points. 7-7-49 the Hawks. 3-3-21 North Melbourne. 9.5 gone second term. Mick Malthouse.
Well, it's spot on. Ball. If you clear the football quickly and get the ball in haphazard football, it goes into the forward line. And I say haphazard because it was intended to be a chaos ball, because there was no marking option outside of just flying for it and hoping you can mark it. But if not, then the small players go to town. The small players have got to play either right behind the lead or in front of the lead. And Watson played right in front, took it cleanly and kicked it cleanly. So again, comes from a clearance.
28 points the margin. Gunston sucking them in because crashed heavily from that big attempt for a mark out of the centre, taken by Butler. Butler's kick around the corner. Watson can't take it. Ginnivan tried to get it to McKenzie, then just kicked it off the ground, taken by Ward, who's tackled and just holds proceedings up. It's in the pointy part of the square, just on Hawthorn's side, on the broadcast side, about 90 metres from goal. Up it goes. Meek and Sherry. Sherry knocked it out. Chol's going to run onto it for Hawthorn. A lovely little handball away to Butler. Now it's been taken by Ward. Ward's kick is touched off the boot. Ginnivan can't get it. Picked up by Ramsden. Ramsden's kick around the body. He might get a goal. He does. Well, Big Max has been peppering away for a few weeks and hasn't been able to find the opening. And then he ends up getting a goal on the run, if you like. Just turned it round the corner. And the Hawks have got another one. They're 8-7-55. The Kangas 3-3-21.
22 clearances to 8. That come directly from a clearance. North Melbourne players didn't even look like getting anywhere near that ball. This is where they've got to clean up. There's something's got to be happening in the middle. Wardlaw, as much as I love him as a player, he's hardly touched the football. Parker's been in and out of there, has had little to do. Rucks are just going. It's one-way traffic, and if that persists, it's now 22. It's 23-8. Centre clearances alone are 9-3. Got to do some work in there, North. And the only way they can do it really is to go one-on-one and rely on your ruckman to see if he can bring the ball to his feet, so you have a fight for it.
It's down to a game high. 34 points. Hawthorn's advantage, hacked out of midair in North Melbourne's general direction. Gee, McKenzie came flashing through, but that was an absolutely beautiful tackle from Jai Simpkin to wrap up the one-arm dispossess McDonald and earn himself a free kick for holding the ball inside 50. But here's Weddle floating across and taking a defensive mark for the Hawks.
He's a fantastic player, isn't he? Off the back line there.
It's the ultimate Swiss Army knife is Josh Weddle. Can do it all.
Yeah, he certainly does.
And called to play on now. Although his kick is not much chop. Sullivan's there for North Melbourne to cut it off. He feeds it up to Luke Parker, who drives the Roos inside 50. Was Nick Larkey infringed upon? Umpire said no on the last line. Flashing through there was Jack, who fed it up to Amon, ran it over the behind line for a minor score, and they'll work it out a full back here. The Hawks all the way out to the outer side.
On the wing, getting back is Logue, and then coming in and taking a lovely mark in the middle of all those was the littlest man there in Moore, and Moore goes long to Ramsden, who couldn't take the mark and had his arms chopped, and the umpire said you'll get another chance at a second goal. Big Max, and he'll be kicking from about 30 metres out directly in front, and Mick, you're not happy?
I'm not happy because I thought the North Melbourne player looked at the football and threw his arms up at the ball. He was out of position, but he's allowed to attack the football there. Yes, he may well have fallen back into the path of the Hawthorn player, but nonetheless, he still had his eyes on the footy.
Set shots have been no good, but his snapping's been okay. Here's Ramsden for goal number 2. That first one's given him a real pump up, and he kicks his second for the quarter. And he's second for the Hawks. 14 minutes gone. Hawthorn 9-7-61. The Kangas 3-4-22. Drewy down to the boundary.
Yeah, got an injury update on the Hawthorn bench. Jarman Impey came off a couple of minutes ago. He's just been getting a left knee worked on by the doctor and physio. He's back on his feet now and seems like he's going to try and continue, but looked in a little bit of pain. So the last few minutes he's just been in the hands of the doctor, but he's back to the bench now and no sign of the sub at this stage.
I'm just going through some stats here, and I'm just trying to find where North Melbourne can put someone in the middle or around the stoppage just to see if they can just hold it up a bit, because right now this is where all the damage is being done, and the run off the back line of Hawthorn has been outstanding as well.
The SMS line, Jim from Limerick in Ireland. Go the Hawks. ABC is the best call in the world. Just love it. Thanks for your text on the other side of the world in Limerick. We love you too, Jim. The Hawks are putting on a show for you here in Launceston. With similar weather to Limerick, I reckon. Here in Lonnie, out of the middle, down to Mackenzie, high up and under ball towards the near wing. Flying was Hardiman, couldn't take the mark. Parker at the fall, jammed it on the boot, sent it to half forward. There was some push and shove underneath the footy. It'll be a Hawthorn free kick. It went Mackenzie's way, play on advantage, ended up with Newcomb. Dangerous ball into the middle, but Joel just reached up with the one hand, took an exceptional mark, missed McDonald with the kick. Ramsden flying through, took it on the bounce, fed Jath on the outside, and he found Dylan Moore in the forward pocket, diving and taking a chest mark, and he'll kick for goal 30 metres out on a tight angle.
Well, if the game hasn't already been done over, it's just an avalanche at the moment. Backline are running, midfield clearing.
Dylan Moore improves the angle, runs around and bends it through with the curler. And Dylan Moore gets on the scoreboard, and it's really starting to open up for the Hawks now. 45 points the margin. 10-7-67 go the Hawks. North Melbourne 3-4-22. That's 4 goals to 1. 5 goals to 1 in this second term. Hawthorn with a pretty handy break now, Mick Malthouse.
Well, Hawthorn have got 4 players that have kicked 2 goals. They are spreading it around. Their forward line is deadly. There's still probably room for Lewis when he gets himself fit coming into a final series. That forward line, you put him in there along with what they've got, that becomes really deadly because they all can kick goals. They all work hard for one another. Midfield. Right now, Hawthorn are playing like a side that want a top 4 position. They are running, creating, working as a team. North Melbourne, on the other hand, it seemed to be stagnant. No run, certainly no appetite for the hard work around the stoppages at the moment.
45 points the margin now. 10-7-67 to 3-4-22. Second bounce in the middle, taken by Davies Uniacke. Curtis just can't get into the game. Little kick off the ground by Constanti. Might have worked okay to Larkey. Just had his head over the football. No free kick. Nash is in there. Sheezer with a little kick. Is marked by Jath. So this Hawthorn back line rebounding beautifully, and the forward line functioning exceptionally well, according to Mick Malthouse. Now Amon takes the mark. Half back outer side, just lopes down the wing and then measures the kick to D'Ambrosio, who plays on. And then a little spear pass down the line to Moore on the bounce. He feeds it back to Gunston. Gunston handball over the top is to Watson. Watson waits for them to all get past, then tries to get around McDonald. Does that beautifully and then just centres it up. The high kick, Ramsden v. and Chol and Dawson. And Dawson in the middle of that just held his ground and took a mark in between the two big guys.
Watson just looked McDonald in the eye and gave him a little shimmy one way and then the other, and then said, "I've got you covered, old man," and burnt him off. North Melbourne with the footy in hand, though. Powell as left half back. He's got Daniel by hand. He's going to look into the middle of the ground and try and spear something out towards half forward. It was not much of a kick. Battle got in the way. Here's Moore tackled by Davies Uniacke. Just got him over the shoulder. And he'll win the free kick. Andrew Cooling's on the boundary.
George Wardlaw has just headed into the rooms for North Melbourne. Might be getting a concussion check. Came off holding his head, but didn't appear to be too pained. But he's gone straight down into the rooms, so maybe getting the check done down there.
Yeah, thanks, Drew. We'll keep an eye on that one. That's a blow that North Melbourne fans would not like to receive. You mentioned Mitch Lewis just before Mick Malthouse, back in the VFL. First game back today.
Yeah.
2 goals.
Well, he's kicked 2. So I think they'll probably pump a few games into him before they bring him up. It's a hard position to play, that keeper forward position.
From the boundary, throw in. Jack Darling took it out of the ruck and then had nowhere really to go. It fell into the lap of Davies Uniacke, who kicked into the middle of the ground. Here's Larkey on the charge. A long way from home, but takes a good contested mark just back of the centre circle. And this will be 50. So who infringed there? It might have been Butler, I think. Maybe just stepping on the mark. Or McDonald.
Yeah.
A little close to the protected area. That'll be a nice little gimme for North Melbourne.
So inconsistently paid, that.
Well, if that's 50, I don't want to be buying land from him.
That was a short 50.
Well, that's probably 40 at best.
Yeah,
at best. He should have no worries of making this.
It's just behind the centre circle, and he's going to kick for goal from
50.
The paint of 50 is Nick Larkey. He sets sail for home, does Nick Larkey. Can he get it to work back? No. Missing to the far side, a minor score. It's the first score for a while, the Roos. 10-7-67 Hawthorn. North Melbourne 3-5-23, 20 minutes gone, second term.
I'm looking at players that you want to live from. Sheasel's had 6, 2 and 4. For a player with that amount of ability, I'd almost be inclined to put him where the ball is and just say, just go and get the football.
The Hawks bring it out of half-back battle, and then O'Sullivan just knocks it to the line. This is Hawthorn's highest first-half score of the season so far. So they've really put the foot down here at York Park.
And we've got plenty of minutes left to add to that, the way this game's going. The clearances are still heavily in favour of the Hawks.
5-2 to 1-2 in this term. Boundary throw in. Meek knocks it down. Newcomb can't grab it. Parker did beautifully. Constanti, in fact it was Powell, just got it down the line on his left boot, and it rolls out of play. Chol and also Fisher there. In fact there was Jatt and Fisher, and it'll be another boundary throw in. So the Kangaroos inch about 25 metres further forward.
Marcus is in South Melbourne. He informs us that Tyrconnelli's hometown of Limerick, that was referenced earlier, is in the middle of an Irish heat wave, and it's 18 degrees. So not quite like Lonnie.
I actually coached a game there for Australia against the Irish in Limerick. Its nickname is Stab City. So imagine how keen I was for my players to go out at night.
As Luke Parker stabs one inside 50 for North Melbourne, and it just fell into the lap of Nick Larkey. The pack flew in front of him. He stayed down and read it best, and he'll have a set shot on goal, 25 metres out directly in front. So Nick Larkey, with a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill, kick for North Melbourne's 4th of the evening. Strides on in, pokes it through, easy as you like, and something out of nothing for North Melbourne. Larkey kicks goal number 3 for the evening. 10-7-67 the Hawks. North Melbourne 4-5-29. Another text in from Michael in Melbourne, walking around waiting for the Collingwood Eagles game at Docklands tonight. Go the Hawks. It's the one we call the Mick Malthouse Cup, the Pies and the Eagles.
I said to my son, I'll come home and we'll watch a horror movie. And he's gone, what do you mean? Because I've got my son here at the moment. Well, he lives in Launceston. I said, yeah, West Coast and Collingwood, it's going to be a horror movie. Because he's one-eyed West Coast. One-eyed West Coast.
Okay.
And I don't know. I don't know whether we'll be watching it for too long, put it that way. Highest goal kicker. Larky.
Yep.
Yep. So he's done well. Again, because he's moving up and down the ground. I love the way now he's not locked into that 15, 20 metre line. He's coming right up, getting involved in the game.
Good forward craft. Ball up. Meek knocks it down. Nash gets it to McKenzie. Off a step was Ward. Kicked to a pack situation. Good mark in front taken by Watson. Watson's got leads coming from everywhere. And one of them's Gunston. And Gunston really got on his bike there. Got into a nice little patch in the leading lane and took the mark. He'll shoot from 45 metres out, almost directly in front.
So this will be the third kick, because the first one came out of the centre, again from Hawthorn. We'll talk about it later on, but got to do something about that stoppages.
Gunston lays back. Goal umpire does minimal work and watches it fly over his hat. And he says, whatever you can do, Nick Larkey, I'm up to the task as well. He gets his third, and the Hawks get another one. 11-7, 73 to the Kangas, 4-5, 29. Gunston has 3 goals.
One of the more extraordinary stories, Jack Gunston leaves Hawthorn because he probably didn't think he's going to get a lot of games, goes to Brisbane, didn't quite work out at Brisbane, and all of a sudden puts his hand up to come back. And I would have thought with Mitchell would have been thinking, oh, he would have been a good backup player. He's now leading, not only leading the goal kicking, he's high in the goal kicking competition. Been outstanding the way he's played.
Andrew Cooling's on the boundary.
Yeah, North Melbourne have made the substitute. George Wardlaw is out of this game with concussion. Robert Hansen Jr. has been subbed in.
Oh, that's a shame for North Melbourne, but Robert Hansen Jr. gets his chance. Back in the middle we go. Davis Uniacke tries to just soccer it forward and gain some territory. Amon returns the favour and soccers it this time towards the boundary. It bobbles just inside the line. 2 players sliding after it. Hardiman and Watson for the Hawks. They see it over right in front of our commentary position. So back to 44 points. The margin here, 11-7-73, the Hawks, 4-5-29. North Melbourne, some shots of Wardlaw down in the rooms with the jumper off and looking a little dejected, has to be said.
He's had a bad run, isn't he?
Had a shocking run. Such a young gun player. Out of the stoppage here is Davis Uniacke on the burst through the middle of York Park for North Melbourne. Larky direction, knocked out of his hands by Weddle over the top. Battle will run onto it now. He's got Jath in support, uses him on the outside, spies a little opening and takes it, runs 15 metres and then gives it to Ward on the inside. Battle takes the handball on the outside. Now he'll just thump it towards left half forward. Too deep was Gunston flying over the back, couldn't take the mark, off hands and over for a boundary throw in left half forward for the Hawks. We're inside the final 5 minutes of this second term. Hawthorn with a commanding lead, 44 points to the good. A beautiful night here in Launceston.
We came here thinking that North were up for the challenge, but the Hawks at York Park are a different cup of tea. Boundary throw in. Meek, McKenzie, now Ward. Threw it on the boot into the pocket. Gunston can't get there. It bounces and just rolls out of play. Left forward pocket. It'll be a boundary throw in. 11-7. Plays 4-5. 26 gone in the second term. Hawthorn sniffing another goal here. They've booted 6-2 in this term. Just waiting on the boundary umpire. Up it goes. Sherry just worked his way in front. Taken by Watson. Watson just paddles in front of himself. Can't get through. Meek got it to McKenzie. McKenzie snaps and misses to the near side. 11-8, 74. Plays 4-5, 29. It's a 45-point margin.
I know ruckman can be slow at learning, but when are they going to work out that these boundary umpires are only throwing it in about 2/3 of the way they do in Melbourne? So get in front so you can control the football.
Nickel game high, 45 points as McDonald took the McKercher kick in and then kicked it up the line, but straight to Blake Hardwick, who cuts inboard to Dylan Moore, who shares it now with Amon on that laser-like left boot, kicks inside 50, and on the charge is Nick Watson. Slides in and takes the mark. So Nick Watson marks 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle. Watson v Daniel. A couple of little men going at it this evening.
How good was the kick from Amon? Just faded at the end and
made him work.
Ran into it.
Made him work for the kick. Just beautiful off a half-back line win.
So Nick Watson has 2 for the evening. Crosses the paint of 50. Deliberate approach. Sets sail. Kick looks not too bad. Not too bad at all. Nick Watson has 3. He is putting on a show in Launceston tonight, the Wizard, as Hawthorn stretch this margin out beyond 50. 12-8-80 the Hawks. 4-5-29 North Melbourne. Deep into this first half. Has been an absolute avalanche in this second term here at York Park. Mick Malthouse, it's starting to get a little ugly for North Melbourne.
Oh, it's very ugly. And it's not because of, I'll say general play, yes, because Hawthorn are virtually controlling every line. Their back line run is outstanding. And the use of the football, it's the old Hawthorn that we're used to through that run when they won their 3 premierships. They're not quite the same side, but their use of the ball off the half-back line, even that one there of Eamon, as Michael said, the draw, he made the player come to him, and it was only a 45-metre kick, so you're quite capable on a night like this to do that. But their stoppage work is outstanding. Their forward craft is terrific, and that's why they've kicked 11 goals.
7-3 to 2-2. Here's McKenzie, got it beautifully down from Meek. High kick, left-footed by McKenzie, getting back. Dawson couldn't take the mark. He's just running back into the... Never there, and couldn't quite hold on to it. It'll be a ball up just outside the attacking 50 for Hawthorn, out of side. Sherry and Meek, they both get a piece of it. Davies-Uniacke ends up with it, gets tackled. Simpkin taken to the line by Amon. It'll be a boundary throw-in. 12-8-80 to 4-5-29. We've gone 29 and a half minutes in the second term.
3 and a bit left in this first half. Hawthorn, the commanding lead over North Melbourne, the Tassie Tenants. Out of the stoppage, along the ground. McKenzie picks it up. His handball picked off, though, by Davies-Uniacke. It was into his shins, and then he was clean off the deck to Sheasel. He shares it on the outside to Stevens, who pokes a pass to half-forward to Zerha. He's going to get this moving quickly because he's got a man in the pocket in Curtis. There's a whistle? No.
Well, there's the difference. He's kicked the ball to Curtis, and Larkey was probably 10 metres clear of his man and would have had a shot directly in front.
Yeah, saw that.
So
unusual.
Paul Curtis right on the boundary. He's going to have to kick it around the corner and curl it home. He does it with 4 Hawks standing on the mark. He made some pretty sweet connection, it has to be said. Paul Curtis, can that be a team lifter for North Melbourne? Wonderful execution from the boundary for Curtis. He splits the middle and kicks a rare goal for the Roos. They got a 5-5-35. Still trailing Hawthorn 12-8-80. We are deep into the first half at Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
The first thing that North Melbourne have to do now, and there's only 2 minutes left, is to make sure that Hawthorn don't come out of the centre and kick the goal that wipes that Curtis goal out. That was a wonderful goal by Curtis. He's a very talented player. Beautiful goal around the corner. So now's the test, because 6-6-6 doesn't allow you to get behind the ball. So this is going to be now a want of those players in the middle for North to arrest any advancement by Hawthorn out of the centre.
Back to 45 points, the margin. Sherry knocks it down, not cleanly. Davies-Uniacke might have been held without the football as he breezed on through, couldn't quite grab it. In goes D'Ambrosio, falls out the back. Handball comes out nicely by Parker. Now Stevens, just chopped off beautifully by Amon. He tried to handball, but Amon was up to it. And then his kick to Ramsden was terrific. His delivery of the ball is outstanding. And guess who's in the pocket? A man who's kicked 3 goals. Toby Pink just trails in. And Jack Gunston's got the mark about 30 metres out on a good angle for a right footer in the pocket.
Scholl's going off his nut because he reckons he wanted it, but he wouldn't have helped.
And Gunston, as they say, hit the belly of the ball and kicks it out of bounds on the opposite pocket. No score.
Joel nearly ended up with it.
Well, that's the only salvation that they didn't score, because they got the ball again from a mistake by North Melbourne, who worked so hard for that goal. They've got to do it again.
Caleb Daniel gains 10 metres and then just thumps it beyond defensive 50, but his kick is no good. Newcomb takes the mark outside the defensive 50, and he can pump the Hawks in again. A couple of players go at it. It's Hardwick and Curtis. Newcomb just lays the slipper in and kicks it to the top of the goal square. Scholl, the target, had a piece of it off hands. Here's Dylan Moore at the fall. He gathered the footy. He was claimed. They force a stoppage inside attacking 50. Just over a minute left in this first half.
Setup's not good by North. They're letting players play in front of them at the stoppage.
Meek won the hit out. Straight down the throat of Dylan Stevens, though, who had Davies-Uniacke on the outside, and they can work it by hand now. The Roos, Pink, and now McKercher bounding outside defensive 50. He's turned it straight over to Newcomb, though. McKercher's kicking hasn't been a feature this evening. He's got Ginnivan out wide, does Newcomb, and he pokes it inside 50 to Dylan Moore, who marks 45 metres out on a tight angle.
They've done everything right until that last kick. Why would you leave Gunston clear?
Now Gunston, who has had some good separation on Toby Pink, Real evening, takes the chest mark. The angle is improved, the distance not so much. And if Gunston kicks for goal here, which we think he might with about 20 seconds left on the clock, he will kick from about 52 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
Leading goal kick, and you stay off him.
So Jack Gunston, the veteran with 3 to his name for the evening so far, pumps this towards the goals, and gee, my oh my, Jack Gunston has lost absolutely nothing. He has wound back the clock, has Jack Gunston tonight. He has 4 first half majors as the siren sounds, and it was a domination from Hawthorn in that second quarter. They would take a commanding lead into the major break, 13-8-86, their highest first half score of the season, to North Melbourne's 5-5-35. They're out by 51 points at half-time. It was a blitz in that second term, Mick Malthouse.
Well, it was, and the disappointing thing about it, North worked so hard to get a goal, and almost immediately Hawthorn get one back. This is the first time probably for the game where they were able to kick a goal. At 5 minutes to play, they wound it down to 48 seconds and then commit a turnover which allows Gunston to take a mark 45 metres out, again unopposed. Quite extraordinary when a player has already kicked 3 goals. You wouldn't be letting him out of your sight whatsoever. So just from some of the stats, inside 50s 36 to 18. That tells you a lot about the story from the start off. Hit outs roughly even. Clearances 27 to 18, a little bit better by North Melbourne, only a little bit better. Contested football blown out, 73 to 52. That is a whacking. That's 20 plus contested ball. That means that you're hungry, you're fighting for the football, you're getting it. Doesn't mean that North Melbourne probably aren't good enough. It just simply means that Hawthorn are getting the numbers there. And if you can control the clearances and the contested football, that meant generally you're getting the ball inside your front 50 more, which in this case is double, and the scoreline is more than double. So a great performance by Hawthorn. Disappointing by North Melbourne at the best.
Yeah, we wondered what North Melbourne might produce this evening here in Launceston off the back of some pretty good form, it has to be said. 3 wins out of their last 5, but they've been roundly beaten in this first half. There's still time for the Roos to fire a shot. It's the first time Hawthorn has kicked 13 goals in the first half since 2016. So almost 10 years since Hawthorn has kicked 13 first half goals. And 2016 is way back in the premiership era. So maybe it's the Hawks starting to wind up for the second half of season 2025. Some goal kickers for you before we do take a short break for the Hawks. Gunston, 4 goals won on the evening, 3 to Watson, 2 to Ramsden, 2 to Chol, and singles to Ginnivan and Moore. Olaki has played a lone hand up front for North Melbourne. 3 goals won to Nick, Curtis and Fisher with 1 goal apiece. Leading disposal winners, Newcomb has had it 19 times for the Hawks in that first half. And Amon 17, Davies-Uniacke with 18 disposals, and Colby McKercher, the hometown boy for North Melbourne, has had it 16 times in the first half. We might take a short break from here in Launceston, where Hawthorn hold a commanding 51-point lead over North Melbourne at the main break. 13-8-86 the Hawks, North Melbourne 5-5-35. We'll take a short break and be back right after this.
ABC News with David Rowlands. Australia's Navy chief admits issues with the country's troubled $4 billion offshore patrol vessel project should have been picked up sooner. The first of the Navy's Arafura-class patrol vessels was commissioned in Western Australia today, more than 2 years behind schedule. Safety and capability concerns prompted the government to halve the project from 12 to 6 vessels last year, but Vice Admiral Mark Hammond says lessons have been learnt.
I'm pleased to say that we've resolved those issues. We've worked really hard with industry to get to where we are today, and I've been really happy with the response. Not walking away from the challenges, but the proof's in the pudding, and it's nice to finally be here.
Thousands of Iranians have gathered in the capital Tehran for a funeral procession for military commanders and nuclear scientists killed in the recent Israeli airstrikes. Israel dealt blows to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard's command during the 12-day war, killing its commander-in-chief and the army chief of staff, among others. The coffins were transported on trucks and driven through crowded streets as mourners paid their respects. US President Donald Trump says he's breaking off all trade discussions with Canada in retaliation for its plan to enforce a new digital services tax on American tech companies. Both Democrats and Republicans have criticised the levy, which is expected to cost mainly US companies such as Google and Amazon more than $10 billion over the next 5 years. However, a former economist with the government of Alberta in Canada, Moshe Lander, says the new tax is not unusual.
It's no different than if a manufactured good in the US were to come into Canada and sold here, you'd have to pay tax on that as well. The thing with digital products is that because it's essentially borderless, the Canadian government says that there's a large amount of transactions that are taking place that are not being subject to a goods and services tax like anything else.
A 41-year-old Aboriginal man has died in custody in Sydney's West. A spokesperson for the private operator of the Parklea Correctional Centre says he died at Westmead Hospital last night. The spokesperson says a group of inmates staged a peaceful protest in response to the death. Police say initial inquiries lead them to believe the man's death is not suspicious. The matter will be subject to a coronial inquest. Staying in New South Wales, where a rise in the number of workplace-related deaths in the state over recent years has prompted a new safety campaign from the state government. Ethan Ricks has the story.
Right. Yeah, sure.
You're important at work.
In just the past 3 years, there's been an annual average of 52 work-related fatalities in New South Wales.
But at home, you're irreplaceable.
The state government has launched a new $2.9 million advertising campaign hoping to curb that growing trend. Work Health and Safety Minister Sophie Kotsis says the ads will target specific industries.
In residential construction and in areas particularly in agriculture.
It comes as the government promises to increase safe work inspectors by 27% over 2 years.
The Victorian government says a planned strike by the hospitality industry over a future ban on gas connections is an overreaction. From 2027, cooking and hot water systems in new homes and commercial buildings will be required to be electric. The Herald Sun newspaper is reporting the Restaurant and Cafe Association will stage a single-day shutdown of thousands of businesses in protest against the government's electric push. However, Government Minister Steve Dimopoulos says businesses won't be immediately affected.
Existing restaurants and cafes, which is every single restaurant and cafe in Victoria, can continue to do what they do. And when they sell the business or when they renovate and a new restaurant comes into the existing space, which is normally how these things happen, I've had a cafe, they can also continue with gas.
Turning to sport, and newly appointed Perth Bears board member Christina Matthews says she has no doubt the new NRL franchise can grab the hearts of WA fans. Matthews was confirmed to the Bears board yesterday, joining prominent businessman Peter Mullins, as well as former federal MP Ben Morton. A former Australian Test cricketer, she most recently spent more than a decade as the chief executive of WA Cricket. Ms Matthews has told ABC Sports Talk that the Bears will have no problems attracting fans, despite Perth's already crowded sporting marketplace.
Having grown up in Melbourne, that was the first thing that struck me when I moved to Perth, that it is like Melbourne in its fanaticism about sport of any sort that's of quality. I think that's where the success will come for the Perth Bears.
And in the NRL this afternoon, the Brisbane Broncos have beaten New Zealand Warriors 26-12.
The Matildas are back.
Great touch on the edge of the box, right foot strike, he scores! Unbelievable!
A new coach, a new look team, 4 big games on home soil.
Whipped in, curling, goal!
And the ABC Listen app has coverage of every minute, live from WA.
Dribbles to the edge of the area, strike! Oh, it's in! What a wonderful goal!
Don't miss any of the Tilly's action on the ABC Sport Extra button on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Away they go to O'Sullivan in the middle of Davies Uniacke, who's away in a flash. Davies Uniacke kicks it long, and he's got Larkey out the back. 20 metres out, that stabbing shot at goal, and he gets it.
Jack clean with the hands, released McKenzie on the outside, knocked off his kick as he sent the Hawks inside 50. G. Gunston from 3 deep, almost took a hanger, but whizzed with the finish. Waves his wand, casts a spell and kicks goal number 2.
Ward's kick is touched off the boot. Ginnivan can't get it, picked up by Ramsden. Ramsden's kick around the body. He might get a goal. He does.
Luke Parker stabs one inside 50 for North Melbourne, and it just fell into the lap of Nick Larkey. The pack flew in front of him. He stayed down and read it best. Kick for North Melbourne's 4th of the evening. Strides on in, pokes it through. Easy as you like. It's something out of nothing for North Melbourne.
Was taken by Watson. Watson's got leads coming from everywhere, and one of them's Gunston. Really got on his bike there. Gunston lays back. Goal umpire does minimal work and watches it fly over his hat.
Moore, who shares it now with Amon on that laser-like left boot, kicks inside 50, and on the charge is Nick Watson. Slides in and takes the mark. Crosses the painted 50, deliberate approach, sets sail. It looks too bad. Not too bad at all. Nick Watson has 3 this evening. He's got Ginnivan out wide, does Newcomb, and he pokes it inside 50 to Dylan Moore, who marks out Gunston, who has had some good separation on Toby Pink. So Jack Gunston, the veteran, with 3 to his name for the evening so far, pumps this towards the goals. Gee, my oh my, Jack Gunston has lost absolutely nothing. He has wound back the clock. Has Jack Gunston tonight. He has 4 first-half majors.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Well, it was an absolute domination in that second turn. Hawthorn kicking 8 goals to North Melbourne's 3 to convert a 20-point quarter-time lead to a 51-point margin at the main break. It's the first time Hawthorn has kicked 13 goals in the first half since 2016, and it's Hawthorn's highest first-half score since 2012, which is telling. Hawthorn have thumped some teams since 2012 during that three-peat premiership era. 13-8-86 is their highest first-half score since all the way back in 2012. And it's the poor old North Melbourne Football Club that have been on the end of it. 13-8-86 the Hawks to 5-5-35. And it feels a little like 2012 too, with Jack Gunston kicking 4 first-half majors. It has been a domination by Hawthorn at their home away from home, their fortress in Launceston, York Park. It is dark, the lights are on, and it is dewy and slippery and very, very cold indeed. There's been one other result so far today. It was the game between Gold Coast and Melbourne. It was the Suns getting the job done by 19 points. Last night we saw the Western Bulldogs defeat Sydney by 9 points at an equally slippery SCG. While all the way back on Thursday it was Port Adelaide defeating Carlton by 50 points. Hawthorn right here, right now though, 51 points to the good. Still to come tonight, it's Collingwood and West Coast, and we'll be previewing that match during the 3-quarter time break. Liam's on the SMS. He says, excellent call, lads. Enjoy listening to the team's insights, especially Mick's. Yes, so do I as well. It's been an intriguing clash, one that we thought North Melbourne might have a little more of a say in, but so far it has not been that way. Have you seen it, Michael Maney, as a observer on the call?
Oh, look, I'm a little disappointed in North, to be honest. I just think I might have mentioned in the call that we came here today thinking, righto, North's on a bit of a roll here. They've found something. Maybe things have turned. It is difficult to come to York Park and play Hawthorn, but when you have a look at the Hawthorn side, and I know North have probably got some players out and they've lost George Wardlaw before half time, but you've got Sicily, Scrimshaw, Lewis, Warple and Day that still don't populate that Hawthorn team. But North just haven't, as Mick said in the call, they just when they move the ball quickly, they're dangerous, but they just go back into their shells too much, and I think that's a learning for the group to be able to reassess and say, well, all right, go back and look at the tape and say, when we moved it quickly, Larky's moving around like he hasn't been for a little while. He's booted 3 goals, and if they can get it down there quickly, Curtis is dangerous. They've got really good players that can capitalise, but they still get bogged down in this sideways stuff, and I think it's maybe a lack of confidence. Maybe they want to limit the damage, but been a little bit disappointed with North Melbourne. But Hawthorn just through stoppage. Newcomb's a bull. They just haven't been able to get a handle on him. And Gunston, as you mentioned in the call, Chris, winding back the clock. He's booted 4 before half-time, and who would have thought he'd be playing for Hawthorn in 2025 after a few year in Brisbane and then came back. So all in all, Hawthorn have sort of shown us that maybe they're on their way back to some of their better football. I think, Mick, you said this is the best you've seen them play for a little while.
Well, it is, and it's, regardless of the opponents, North Melbourne haven't chucked it in, and they're not they're not butchering the ball. They're just going probably far too wide. What I like about the Hawthorn side right now is that number one, they've got a player in behind the ball, so they utilise him. So North Melbourne would look at that and you'd think that they would keep 6. The damage has basically been done. They're trailing miserably by eight odd goals. So there's no harm in going, we're going to have 6 forwards and we're going to drop the extra at the middle. Now, we know that at the stoppages they're getting slaughtered anyway. So when you do get it forward, don't let Hawthorn have the opportunity to run that football out. That'd be number one. 2 is right around the ground. You said it. When they move the ball quickly, Larky clearly is on top. Curtis is a very good footballer. He's been manned up pretty heavily. I think Newcomb's got him from time to time. So Newcomb to me right now is probably best on the ground. He's just his strength, his use of football. But the ball movement of Hawthorn is exactly what got them into the finals last year. It's had them playing good football early this year. They fell off for about 4 or 5 weeks where the ball just wasn't moving. Does North Melbourne attribute to the fact that Hawthorn are moving the ball the way they are? Yeah, possibly. It's right now, for those that aren't watching on TV, there's a heavy mist over the ground. It's coming in. It's going to make the ground slippery. The least number of times you handle a football, the least number of times you're going to muck it up. So there's only one thing, is you've got to get the ball forward, and that's why you've got to have the extra player down there to say 6v6, and have if it's a chaos ball, let it be a chaos ball. If you can deliver it properly, all very well and good, but don't muck around off the football, because inevitably you'll give it back to Hawthorn. And in their mood right now is that they're clean with the football, they're running with the football, and they're finding easy targets. I think they've taken, it's 10 or so marks inside 50. Or that's 11 marks inside 50. That's an enormous amount of marks to half time, because I reckon from that 11, I would say they've probably kicked 7 or 8 goals from it. And you do all your damage if you like that.
How have you seen the Meek v Sherry? I mean, from the naked eye, you would think, well, Meek's probably doing pretty good on him, but it's 21 hit-outs to 19 in favour of Meek. But it just seems that Meek might be doing a little bit more around the ground. Sherry's been in outstanding form, and he hasn't played a bad game for a while. And there's not a bad game tonight, but I think Meek might just be shading him at the minute.
Well, he's certainly shading him as far as in numbers. I think that early Meek was getting his hand to the football and putting it into a very dangerous position for Hawthorn to get the football out. I think Cherry's come back from that. There's no doubt he's come back and putting his hands on the football, but it's the ground level. Cherry's had 3 and 9, Meek's had 3 and 2. So possession wise, North Melbourne are clearly ahead in as far as their ruckman goes. But that doesn't say it all. Your ruckman's got to be really dominant. He's got to be able to put the ball in a position where his rovers or his midfield take the ball away, or he takes marks behind the ball and saves the day, or he goes forward and takes marks. I'm not seeing either ruckman doing that. So I don't think it's a ruckman's day with the way the ball's moving. Plus it's a bit dewy. Where it counts most is working out that these boundary umpires do not throw the ball in a long way. Get in front, stay in front, and see if you can pull the ball back at your feet. Give some solid work for your mids to know that the ball's going to fall within a metre of your body. And if you do that, at least you can get the ball there. If you watch the boundary umpire, throws it in, ruckmen are running onto it, so the ball, you just don't know where it's going to go. You've got to work it out. It's pretty. I know it's hard to work out that when you're a ruckman, but it's really.
The Hawks 51 points up at half-time here at York Park, about to get things underway again in the second half. The Hawks' highest first half score since 2012, waiting for all the bits and pieces to be put into place before we see the umpire bounce the ball. I don't know what structurally Alistair Clarkson can do in this second half, but it has been all Hawthorn. They booted 8-3 to 3-2 in the second term to set up this 51-point lead at half-time. And that sometimes that fog does roll in. You can you look at just up into the sky there, you can see that it's rolling through. I'm not quite sure what the hold-up is. I think someone might be doing...
They're waiting for me to put a jacket on, Michael. Let me tell you, because it's bloody freezing.
They didn't have to wait too long. That jacket on pretty quick, I reckon. It's pretty.
Here we go. I think the man on the buzzer at the scoreboard must be a little bit cold in the finger. But here we go. Getting underway. Second half at York Park. Hawthorn leading by 51 points over North Melbourne. Meek knocks it down. Sharking it beautifully was Davies Uniacke. He runs and kicks a real old wobbling ball looking for Curtis. Couldn't take the mark in the second grab. Handball comes out to Chol. Good tackle by Zurha. Some of the crowd wanted ball, and Larkey just escorts it to the boundary line. Left forward pocket. North Melbourne immediately into attack deep inside 50. Davies Uniacke can really put a couple of metres on any quick opponent. Got it inside 50. It was a wobbler. Sherry knocked it down, looking for Zurha. Newcomb, another possession taken by Nash. Nash out wide. Hardiman couldn't take the mark. Flicks over the back. Moore fed the handball out smartly to Watson. Watson to Ginnivan. Ginnivan on the wing. Wanted to go inboard, then decided to use Gunston, who's a long way from goal. He just sets sail for the pocket. Ramsden can't take it. In comes Newcomb. McKercher got the handball away to Daniel. Now to Parker. And it ends up with Fisher. Fisher runs it away to Sheasel, who's got a bit of a problem.
He's under real pressure, but did very well to fashion a kick on the outside of the boot to Simpkin, who just nurses one up the line to Curtis on a long lead. He's going to punch one towards the near wing, and he does that, and he does that well. So Davies Uniacke, who's been a pretty good contributor tonight for North Melbourne, he pokes one over the top to Zurha. He's got to wait for it to bounce, and he can't quite get it under his spell. He does eventually. It's slipped into his hand. He's forced to just scrap one inside 50 to Zurha. Larkey was absolutely dealt with in the marking contest. A very plain and obvious free kick. And Larkey's been a lone hand up forward for North Melbourne so far this evening. Wins himself another free kick, probably winning the battle. Oh, he's definitely winning that battle. When it becomes a one-on-one, forwards have virtually got to mark it or control the ball. Backline play just punches it clear, but Larkey's really, he's controlling that position. He's only about 25 metres out, but on a tightish angle. It's no gimme. He just poked at it and missed it to the near side. Strange angle the way he actually ran across the face of goal to kick that. So a minor score for North Melbourne, the first of the third term, 13-8-86 the Hawks. North Melbourne 5-6-36.
50 points the margin. Short kick out by Amon finds Impey. Impey right in front of the broadcast box here, kicks to the wing, big thump from behind. Moore tried to paddle it through. Might be a free kick here. It's coming back to Curtis, is it? Got a nudge? Oh, he's got just shoved in the back. That was silly play. Really silly play by North Melbourne, by Hawthorn there. Curtis on the wing, kicks toward the boundary in the pocket. Zurha couldn't take the mark, knocked out of play by Amon. It'll be a boundary throw in. So the Kangaroos inside there attacking 50, and the signs looking a little better.
Oh, much better. Their clearance rate's better already.
Jan on the text line. Love ABC footy. Go North. Believe in each other and get your skates on.
Yeah.
So some words of inspiration from Jan. Thanks for the text. In it comes. Inside attacking 50. Can they produce something for you here, Jan? Sherry wrenches Lloyd Meek down onto the turf. He took it out of the ruck and another stoppage.
Another shallow ball in.
They're all shallow. There's lack of Wheaties eaten down here by the boundary umpire.
Meek to the front, knocks it towards the boundary. Newcomb's there.
Good call. That's a good call by the boundary umpire. He's got that totally right. The play was in, but his leg swung out the boundary.
So maybe not eating the wheat bix, but
good eyesight.
Got the carrots
got
up.
Plenty of carrots. Plenty of carrots. They're going far as back as Jeff Thompson used to run up for bowling. Have a look how far back, and they can't control the ball. Look at that, how shallow that is.
Yeah, it's another shallow one. Sherry over the back, though. Nudge Meek out of it. Flashing shot on goal. It bounces over the boundary line. So another ball in. Deep in attack for North Melbourne. It's slipping and sliding around out there. It's misty and dewy here in Launceston.
Is that 40 metres from the line where they're starting?
Yep.
40 metres from the line. He can barely throw it 20 metres.
From the behind post.
Yep. And watch this here where this falls. 15, 20 metres.
Yeah, it's another short one. Sherry to the front. Simpkin tried to flash through. Was just knocked off it by Impey. Later tackle at ground level. Spinning through was Hardiman, but right into trouble. Dylan Moore and a couple of Hawks wrap him up, take him to ground, and they get into it a little bit. The ball up, still inside attacking 50 for the Roos.
Up they go. They've got a piece of that. Jath just knocked off the kick, goes toward the line, and Newcomb, who's been in everything in the first half, just sees it to the line. So it's just outside the attacking 50 on the main grandstand side of York Park with North Melbourne. Well, they've been in attack for all of the 5 minutes of this third term. Different boundary umpire this time. Might have got a little bit extra heave on it. Taken by Nash and chopped off. The intercept mark taken by Dawson. With the combat out, Dawson coming in. So Dawson just loads it up and kicks it long. Who can take a mark? No one. Ball spills to the back. In goes Darling. And that ball going nowhere. It'll be a ball up. It's about 20 metres out from the North Melbourne goal. Right forward pocket. And they're kicking to the city end.
Jack's had 1 and 3 for the game. Jack Darling.
It goes. Newcomb away to Nash. Nash just jammed it on the boot, but Chol is the man who takes the mark at half-back.
Left half-back, his kick was smothered, but it's going to be 50 metres because the man on the mark, or maybe it was Jai Simpkin, encroaching on the protected area. So now Chol is going to be marched right up to centre wing. He just strokes the ball inside 50. Gunston at the back, couldn't get over the top of Pink. It spills out towards the Hawthorn goal where Stevens awaits, and now he shares with McKercher onto the left boot. Kick is good. Davies Uniacke still inside defensive 50 though, the Roos. Goes laterally towards the outer side, and Fisher gets down on one knee, takes the mark, and now he stabs one, misses his target, straight over the head of his target, straight to Impey. Now Amon, now Dylan Moore, poke inside 50, and all on his own is Connor McDonald. Mick Malthouse throws the hands up in frustration. What are they doing, Mick?
Well, it was a 25-metre kick that went over the head of the intended target, and it gets rebounded because Hawthorn is sitting off at the back. Hawthorn should have been punished from that kick. The next kick goes into Larkey, who was already leading across the ground. So Hawthorn now resurrected, have a shot on goal.
Croc McDonald from 40 metres out wobbles one on goal. He's missing to the near side. Can't convert, can't punish the Roos. It's Hawthorn's first score of the third term. 13-9-87. North Melbourne 5-6-36. Back to a 51-point margin. 7 minutes gone. Third term, Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
North getting their hands on the footy. They've just got to start using the football a bit better. Here's Caleb Daniel, who just runs it to the wing. Darling couldn't take the sprawling mark. In goes Simpkin. Nicely by hand to Stevens. Stevens, a little kick over the top. Running with the flight was Logue, but intercepted by Jath. This way, that way. Doesn't know where he's going. Sometimes reminds you Crazy Horse Counting back in the olden days. Little kick inside 50. In goes Davies Uniacke. He fell over. It falls to Chol. Chol gets a call from Gunston. Gunston's got to wait for it to sit. Did he kick it? He did. He's got 5, has Jack. And that goal coming about is a series of errors from the Kangas, slipping over and then in the end, Gunston in the right place at the right time, and Mick set it up for us. 14-9-93 to 5-6-36.
Well, Hawthorn, North Melbourne had control of the ball. But there was one possession probably just not quite right. So Jeff coming off the half-back line, met it flush on. Brilliant play. He had two choices: go and attack it or fall back onto his man. Attack the football, cause the turnover. From there on in, it was just a matter of finding the loose player. Hawthorn outnumbered North Melbourne all the way along. Found the loose player until Jack Dunstan had to kick. It was a good kick. It was a tough kick, play on kick from the pocket. Had to go across his body, but got the goal.
Jack Gunston now has 33 goals for the season. His second bag of 5 for 2025. He's really turning back the clock. This year is Jack Gunston. Out of the middle we go. We're on the outer wing. Impey's stripped of it. Stevens comes flashing through. Got it up to Sheasel. Now to McKerch on the outer side. Casual looking ball out towards left half forward, but it was good enough for Stevens, who picked it up pretty cleanly off the bootlaces. Now it's Darling back into the traffic. They've got nowhere really to go here, North. Feeds it back to Powell. Left foot ball inside 50, but Jaff just picks it off, flies across and takes a nice intercept as Jaff. And he's pressured and hemmed in and don't have much to go to at this stage to the Roos.
Well, Sicily won't be taking his spot. He is really, he gives run, he's got courage, uses the ball pretty well. Good option taken too.
Kicks towards the outer wing. Ramsden was the target. Sherry crushed the pad, brought it to ground. It's all locked up. We'll have a ball up on the outer wing.
And I only raised that because off air we were talking about where does Sicily fit back in the side, but it certainly won't be taking Jeff's spot.
Well, he's had a pretty good night in Launceston tonight as Jaff, and seems to have cemented a role. All locked up again. Another ball up. Outer side, centre wing.
But he's shown courage in the way he's played. He's going to attack the football.
Ball flicks across the wing, taken by Ginnivan. Little handball away to Ward's got to kick with his right boot. Kicks down the line. Gunston in position A. Pink did pretty well to put the pressure on. Little kick by Hardiman across the face, looking for Fisher. Hemmed in on his left-hand side. And Chol with a chase and tackle and dispossesses Fisher, who didn't know whether to kick with his left or kick with his right. He wanted to straighten up on his left, and Chol got him in the end.
Brilliant. Nothing pleases the coach or the supporters more than a good run-down tackle from the forward line against a player who's clearly got the football. All he had to do is kick the football, and Chol got him.
Well, he's got a good bit of closing speed at times.
Has he ever? He has, certainly has. Well, that's brilliant. That's as good as any big mark or a great goal. That lifts the team, that tackle.
He'll have to kick from about 52, right on the boundary. It's a good-looking kick. It's coming back. It's coming back. It's a goal. He goes to the crowd and said, "Wait, how about that?" That is an amazing kick from Marbior, and he's got 3. And the multiples are coming from everywhere for the Hawks. That is outstanding from there. 15-9-99 plays 5-6-36 Mick Malthouse.
Watson kicked what is arguably one of the goals of the season when he came out of the centre and chased it up and doubled up the team. But I would put this one in front of that, not because it is a difficult goal. He's got his left foot to the boundary. It's the tackle, it's the run-down tackle chase. It's to go back, weigh it up. He looked inside, there was nothing there, and he's kicked that ball from 50 metres across his body and knocked it right over. That is, in my mind, the goal of the day. Knocks over Watson's, which is possibly the goal of the year.
What an extraordinary finish from Marbior Chol. And as you said, the big man with the chase-down tackle on the little runner in Zach Fisher, and then an extraordinary finish from right on the boundary line with the left foot. Inside 50 go the Hawks again. Off hands is Ginnivan, shares it with Gunston. He's swung in the tackle, got his hands free, got it to Newcomb, goes around the body, and he misses. They are just piling on the pain here, the Hawks. They bring the 100 up with 12 minutes remaining in the third term.
I just wonder where Newcomb's playing most of his football.
15-10 the Hawks to 5-6-36. It has been a barrage. Caleb Daniel brings it in from full back. Goes by hand out to McDonald in the left back pocket. All he can do is send it high towards the outer wing to a Pat. Off hands, Weddle waits down. Red at best. No, there's a free kick. It'll go North Melbourne's way. Chol infringed. It was Sherry to receive. He's just back of the wing on the outer side. It's Tristan Sherry, who's battled manfully with Lloyd Meek throughout the evening. Goes to left half forward to another Pat. Down was Jaff, but the fist over the top came from Hardwick towards the boundary line. Simpkin arrives first for North Melbourne. Shares it now with Fisher. Onto his left boot, inside 50, scrappy old ball, fist from Amon, Jaff at the fall, taken down, a good tackle, and holding the ball. Well, that was a hot decision.
Yeah, I reckon he did take them on, but the ball was wrapped up pretty quickly, so I'm not totally convinced that
looking to burst away.
That's it.
But he didn't have too much of a pry, but Robert Hanson Jr.
Once you take a step with the ball, they've given you opportunity. So perhaps it's a better decision what we would have made.
The activated sub, Hanson Jr. on for Wardlaw, strokes this one toward goal, and it looks like a pretty nice finish. So well done. A chase down tackle at one end and a reply at the other as Hanson Jr. slams through his first for the evening, and North Melbourne get their first of this second half. The score now 15-10-100 the Hawks. North Melbourne 6-6-42 with Mount Everest decline. 14.5 gone in this third term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport, Mick Mulcahy.
Yeah, just watching that replay, we got the benefit of the replay here. He took one step, two steps, and when he went to ground with it, there was no effort to get rid of it. So very good decision in the end. If you just from the naked eye, it looked like he was a bit stiff, but no, I'd say that he had every opportunity to get rid of that. And you've got to make the opportunity, and you've got to make an attempt to get rid of it. So good decision, good finish too. Very, very competent goal kicking then.
So 15-10-100, play 6-6-42. Back in the centre, the Hawks leading from the centre. Shark by Mackenzie. Kicks a high one inside 50. Hardiman went for the tap. Ball flicks over the back. All Hawks here running onto the footy. Here's Butler. And nicely done by Pink, who just come crashing through and got it to Daniel. Daniel was looking for Darling. Darling couldn't take the mark, but Hanson Jr.'s working everywhere at the moment. He's on the wing. Just chipped the kick looking for Zerha, but turned it over. The mark taken by Battle, who goes laterally and internally and goes to Mackenzie, to Amon, who's just so cool and calm down back. And then he gets it to Hardwick, and Hardwick to Jaff, who's on this side of the ground and just spears a little past to Ward, who takes the mark right in front of us.
That's the difference between Hawthorn going across the ground to North Melbourne. Hawthorn know what they're going to do next. North were getting trapped.
Ward goes to a pack. Pink with a double fister. Falls to Ginnivan, who got it to Moore. Now to Amon. Is chopped off by Daniel, who did beautifully. McKerch, a little handball to Zerha. The 1-2 got it back, and McKerch has had a bounce. He's had a second. What's he doing now? He's eyeing off the run forward from Zerha, but the handball was not good. Chopped off by Moore. It falls to Weddle. They'll get you on the rebound, the Hawks. Taken now by D'Ambrosio, who's had a good first quarter, but a little quieter in the second. And now just feeds it back to Barris, who's at half-back.
He catches his breath momentarily. There's Barris and elects to go back inside defensive 50 where Battle awaits, and they're going to move it to the near side of the ground. Mackenzie receives the short ball, and here's the breaking runner in Newcomb, who marks on the boundary line in front of the benches. He just works the ball up towards Ramsden, but doing well to get in front and break it up was Hardiman, knocking it over for a ball in. So they tighten up on that occasion to the Roos. They have a boundary throw in front of the Hawthorn bench. Commanding lead here in Launceston, 15-10-100 the Hawks, 6-6-42.
North have gone 6 forwards and keeping now. Just a bit more pressure on the Hawthorn back line.
Darling took it out of the ruck uncontested, but then Connor Nash just stripped him of the footy, and he was pinged for holding the ball. So a little slow from hand to foot was Darling on that occasion. Nash now for the Hawks to pump it deep inside 50. Chol the target over the back. Gunston for a sixth. No. Toby Pink ended up with it. Tackled by Moore. Got it to McKercher, who works a little ball out to Parker, who marks it Right half back for North Melbourne. He sold his teammate under a fair bit of trouble in Stevens via the handball. They break it up here, the Hawks. McKenzie, Ramsden, McDonald, Amon, all by hand. Here's Newcomb with the entry. Just sold some wonderful candy to Fisher. Put the step on, sent it towards goal. Cho was there. Pink got in front, broke it up. Watson working at ground level. His fellow little man is there in Daniel. He tries to scrum it over the line, and he does so eventually. A ball in or a boundary throw in. Deep in attack, left forward pocket for the Hawks.
It's like a little seagull feeding on hot chips is Watson. When he gets a sniff of those chips, he's right after it.
Ooh, don't say chips, mate.
Ball up in the pocket, and it hits the behind post, and it'll be a boundary throw in.
We're freezing up here, Michael. All we need is a big bowl of chips.
It'd be nice.
Come on, Robert Groenewegen, you're better than that.
Groner might have moved on. Here we go. Boundary throw in. Sherry reaches over the top. Butler was there at the fall. It'll be another ball up.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's a Hawthorn player well behind the ball, so North have elected to get another one at the stoppage, which is understandable deep in their forward line.
About 20 metres out from the Hawthorn goal. Parker just jammed it on the boot, looking for Darling. Ball flicks over the back. Zurhar can't get it. Going back was Battle. Then fed it back to Jath. Jath with a handball away to Amon. Casually to Battle. Battle's got a little short one. That's okay. And finds Morrison. Morrison gets it to McKenzie by foot. McKenzie just floats it up. Marvior's getting in position A, but Meek almost took the mark to Gunston, who's popped another one through. He's got half a dozen, Jack. He's brought his own football down there. 6 goals to Jack Gunston. He can do no wrong. 16-10-106. North 6-6-42. We've gone 19, almost 20 minutes in the third term.
Well, he's dropped back to what he was 5 years ago. He's
10.
Wherever he is, and the ball's near him, it's almost like you hold your breath thinking he's going to get this, and if he gets it, he's going to knock it over. Just watching again the replay, he was first onto the ball, which is amazing that he can be first onto the ball and his man trailing him in. That is, I praised Pink up for his efforts against Curnow last week, but right now you just cannot afford to give a player like that any space between him and where that ball falls.
It's an equal career high, 6 goals for Jack Gunston, if you can believe that, given the career that he's had. Andrew Cooling's on the boundary.
Seamus Mitchell's just run onto the ground, just getting confirmation who he's been subbed in for, but he's been activated for the Hawks.
Seamus Mitchell activated for the Hawks. Back in the middle we go as Parker's handball was just looped up in the air. Powell had to wait for it. He was dispossessed, but coming off the back of the line was Caleb Daniel. Here is Seamus Mitchell. His first touch, shared it out to Butler. Got it back to D'Ambrosio, who has some time and space to really give it some thought. He's just back of the wing and elects to go 15 metres in arrears to Jarman Impey, who goes back across the ground to Carl Amon, who's at right half back for the Hawks. They slow it right down. Eventually Amon just gets onto his left boot and dumps it up the line. He liked the look of Weddle, and that's because Weddle weighed it down and read it so well. Took the mark when his opponents flew in front of him. Now he spears one inside 50. That was an absolute rifle into the lap of Connor McDonald. And he marks about 48 metres out. A tightish angle.
I hope he meant that, because if he did, it was an unbelievable kick.
He goes a little further inside now to D'Ambrosio. Andrew Cooling's downstairs.
Yeah, confirmation on the Hawks sub. It's Dylan Moore who's been replaced. Doesn't look to be injury related, just putting the star man in Cotton Wool.
D'Ambrosio, top of the square, knocked away, boundary throw-in. So Dylan Moore out of the game. They're going to take the opportunity to manage him. Seamus Mitchell in for the Hawks. Boundary throw-in deep in attack. The Hawthorn Football Club.
Right forward pocket. Hawks in attack. Can they conjure here? Meek and Sherry. Meek knocked it down. Chaos there. In goes Newcomb, and a free kick is coming out. He's going to Hawthorn. It's going to Newcomb. Cop one high in that exchange, I think, or is it going to McDonald? It's going to McDonald. And I think we're all searching for answers. But McDonald's got the free kick. Hawthorn coming into this game, 29 goals from free kicks this year. It's a fairly high number.
Yeah, you would have thought so. Yeah, if they're there, they're there.
Here's McDonald from about 30 metres out, directly in front, almost directly in front, pops it through, and the Hawks get another goal. They're 17th, in fact. They moved to 17 goals, 10, 112. North Melbourne 6-42. Connor McDonald joins the party of the goal-kicking variety.
Well, I'll just give some basic stats. You think at times a side that's chasing all day, North Melbourne had 27 tackles, Hawthorn have had 44. So their work ethic has been outstanding, Hawthorn. Then you go to the contested marks inside 50, 13-4. So that's a domination. You go to contested possessions, 96-73. That in today's football is a domination. Possession right domination. And that's the scoreboard says that. Everything about it, quite often those stats don't equate to what the scoreboard is showing. It is today. It's just remarkable.
4-1 in this third term. We're out to a 70-point margin here in Launceston. North Melbourne with a rare foray forward here, but it's all Hawthorn. Seamus Mitchell tried to control it up to himself. Constanti just ripped him off the footy and gave away the free kick. Last line of defence, Seamus Mitchell activated as the sub in for Dylan Moore, who's taking a spell. Wanted to manage him. Off the contest, beyond defensive 50. Ward couldn't trap it. Mackenzie goes in hard, wins a handball out to Amon, spins towards the boundary line. Ward eventually receives it. He's undergrounder. There's no good to Ginnivan, runs out of tarmac, and it's a ball in right in front of our broadcast position to time on in this third term.
Smart hand pass in. He knew that he could be judged deliberate, put the ball in a position to be out already.
Ball in. Megan Sherry, Nick waits down, then lays a crunching tackle on Curtis, who gathered clean possession but was stopped right in his tracks. A ball up at half forward for the Roos.
Bone shattering that was. Meek takes it out of the ruck, then gets it to Mackenzie, and then Mitchell just off face, step to the wing. Ramsden knocks it away. Davies-Uniacke clean. Got it away to Logue, back to Davies-Uniacke, who got it to Daniel, and running into the centre of the ground is Parker. Parker spotted a man in a bit of space, was Hanson Jr., but on the scene was Jath, but it falls to Connor O'Sullivan. Back to Hanson Jr. with a nice little kick to Larkey, who marks in front of Barris. But had the better of that battle today, although Josh has been on Larkey, as in the battle variety. Here's Larkey on the wing, outer side, long way from goal, decides to short it up. It's okay to Luke McDonald.
Well, he's a good outlet, Larkey. It's the first time I've seen him come up the ground so high, so it's good work.
The handball went over the top to O'Sullivan. Now gets it back to Davies-Uniacke. By hand to McKercher, whose first thought was to kick with the right. Then he got with the left to Pink, the back end of the square. And then Pink just off the side of the boot. Will work okay to Logue. Logue in a bit of space on the back flank. And then this way, that way, and the kick wasn't all that smart. Ward couldn't take it for Hawthorn, but went back and tried to get the hard ball. Dawson is there, Fisher over the top. Little handball by Sheasels, not a good one. He's not having the best of times as Sheasel. And then Hardwick just squeezes it back into play right near the boundary line. But Logue took them all on. The handball to Zurhaar. And Zurhaar's handball was to a teammate who was in all sorts of trouble. That was Parker. Parker almost a throw. Goes to McKercher. McKercher lines them up. Kicks long. He's got Sherry in the pocket. Sherry can't take the mark. Meek there with the thump. And it rolls out of play. Boundary throw in, right forward pocket. North Melbourne in attack. The idea was right. The execution of the kick was okay, but Meek did pretty well in the end.
Well, what he should have done is gone for goal, because Jerry had moved Meek away from the goals. All McKercher had to do was just line him up and hit it to the 10-yard square. And that would have rolled through.
North Melbourne in the pressure cooker at the moment. Hawthorn just providing them no outlet, although Luke Davies-Uniacke carves himself a path out of the stoppage. He had a lot of time and a lot of space, perhaps the most time and space the North Melbourne player has had for the past 10 minutes. His snap on goal was missing. Unable to convert, so a minor score, 17-10, 1-12. Hawthorn, North Melbourne 6-7, 43. 69 points the margin. Out of full back comes Carl Amon, takes a bounce and Trips himself 25 metres and then kicks beyond defensive 50 to the near side, off hands. Fisher might have thrown it out of there. Crowd certainly thought so. Constanti just volleyed it inside 50, rolled past Impey to Amon, who gave it to Connor Nash. There might be a free kick off the ball here. It might be against Jarman Impey, who puts Paul Curtis on his bum off the play.
I'd like to see what happened there. It's very unusual for Impey to be reactive like that. So Curtis has said something or done something. I'm suggesting this.
Paul Curtis will get a free kick here, so the ball's brought back. It's about 40 metres from goal, right on the boundary line. He kicked one from a similar position at the opposite end of the ground earlier in the night. So he is capable. He's lining up to curl this around on the left boot. It doesn't quite get the connection he would have liked. It stays in play. It's been taken by Meek right on the last line of defence. So nothing coming of that foray from North Melbourne as Lloyd Meek stands tall and takes the grab on the behind line.
I'm watching what's happened behind the play here with Eamon and Curtis there, still having a bit of a chat about what took place.
Meek's kick to half back is beautifully marked by Newcomb with a contested mark in front. He's a bit frustrated here. He doesn't know where to go. No one's opening anything up for him, but then he goes to Butler.
He's been fantastic, Newcomb.
Newcomb's probably one of the better players on the field,
if not the best.
So Butler goes long down the line. No one can take the mark. Meek crashes the pack. Simpkin. McKercher got it to Sheasel. Back to McKercher. McKercher just waddles away. And then to Fisher. Fisher wants his left boot. This time he gets it. Kicks it to a 2-on-1. Zerha had 2 against him. The ball just flicks over the back. Amon just kept it in play. Underground handball to Barris. Barris's kick is...
no, that's not a free kick. That is not a free kick. He dumped the player as he kicked the football. The umpire was just sweating on something to cool the heads. There's no way that is a free kick downfield.
No, that was against Curtis, was it?
It was, that's what the umpire deemed. I think he's very stiff.
Jath is the man with the ball as it was transferred downfield and just runs inboard and loads up a shallow, long kick. Weddle just got underneath it. Did he get a little tunnel in there, Josh Weddle?
Yes, he did.
And he might get a free kick here. A curly-headed speedster.
It's become a little bit undisciplined now by North Melbourne. There's a few little bits and pieces happening just off the ball. Even that one there, that's undisciplined. Had a stayed in that contest, if a North Melbourne player stays in that contest, that becomes a contest. You take it, it's an easy decision for the umpire to make 45 metres out or thereabouts.
Quiet night for Weddle, just 4 possessions the first half. Got a bit more of the ball in the second. He'll kick from right on the paint of 50. This kick is not his best, just pushes out to the right and will be thumped through for a behind by Tristan Sherry. The Hawks move to 17-11, 113 to 6-7, 43. 31 minutes gone in the third term.
Dying embers of this third term. Hawthorn by a clean 70 points. Caleb Daniel brings it in from full-back. Kicks toward the near side. Pack of players forms. Siren will beat all comers. And it was another domination in that third term. Hawthorn converted a 51-point half-time lead into a 70-point three-quarter-time advantage. 4 goals to 1 in that third term. 2 of them to Jack Gunston, who has a career or equal career high 6-goal haul here in Launceston tonight. Other goals coming off the boot of Abior Chol, who has 3 for the evening. And Connor McDonald got in on the action too. Robert Hanson Jr., the activated sub for North Melbourne, replacing George Wardlaw, who has been taken from the field with concussion. He kicked North Melbourne's only goal of the third term. So the scoreboard at three-quarter time here at York Park reads Hawthorn 17-11, 113 to North Melbourne 6-7, 43. A commanding 70-point advantage at the three-quarter time break. We'll take a very short break and be back with a preview of the game at Docklands between Collingwood and West Coast right after this.
Hello, Patrick Stack here. Do you like sport and good conversation? Then we've got a great podcast for you. One cracking story, in depth, every day, in under 15 minutes. It's called ABC Sport Daily, and you can find it on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Little kick inside 50. In goes Davies Uniacke. He fell over. It falls to Chol. Chol gets a call from Gunston. Gunston's got to wait for it to sit. Did he kick it? He did. He's got 5. Has Jack. Little kick by Hardiman across the face. Looking for Fisher. Hemmed in on his left-hand side. And Chol with a chase and tackle. And dispossesses Fisher, who didn't know whether to kick with his left or kick with his right. He wanted to straighten up on his left. And Chol got him in the end. They'll have to kick from about 52, right on the boundary. It's a good-looking kick. It's coming back. It's coming back. It's a goal. He goes to the crowd and said, wait, how about that?
This from Amon. Jack at the fall, taken down. A good tackle and holding the ball. Well, that was a hot decision. The activated sub, Hanson Jr. on for Wardlaw, strokes this one toward goal, and it looks like a pretty nice finish, so well done. A chase down tackle at one end and a reply at the other as Hanson Jr. slams through his first.
McKenzie just floats it up. Marbior's getting in position A, but Meek almost took the mark to Gunston, who's popped another one through. He's got half a dozen, Jack. He's brought his own football down there. Meek knocked it down. Chaos there. In goes Newcomb, and a free kick is coming out. It's going to Hawthorn. It's going to McDonald from about 30 metres out, directly in front, almost directly in front. Pops it through, and the Hawks get another goal.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
One-way traffic in Launceston, the battle of the Tasmanian tenants, Hawthorn and North Melbourne, and it's the Hawks with a commanding 70-point lead at three-quarter time, 17-11, 113 to North Melbourne's 6-7-43. It's been chocolates to boiled lollies for the Kangaroos. There's been one game already today between the Gold Coast and Melbourne. It was the Suns getting the job done on that occasion, and there's one to come tonight. It's being played at Docklands between Collingwood and West Coast, and Matt Clinch is at the ready. Clinchy.
Chris, we have the two ends of the ladder. Collingwood sitting on top of the ladder, just the 2 losses so far this season. Their second of 2 matches at Docklands as the home side taking on the West Coast Eagles on the bottom of the AFL ladder with just the 1 win coming off a bye. The Magpies looking for their 7th straight victory and a chance to bring in some new talent as well. Charlie West, off the back of his 6 goals in the VFL, will make his debut tonight, while also an opportunity for Charlie Dean to come in to bolster their defence with Billy Frampton out. While for the West Coast Eagles, Hoff and Shanahan makes his debut for the Eagles with Oscar Allen and Diwa out for the Eagles. So what sort of mood will Collingwood be in? Do they want to win and win by a big margin? The chance to open up a gap on the rest of the side with Brisbane and Geelong having the bye this weekend. Lauren Borden to call the action alongside Adam Ramanaskas and Luke Ball. Lex Pesce down on the boundary. It's Collingwood and West Coast after you.
Thank you, Clinchy. Yes, the Mick Malthouse Cup set to take place at Docklands immediately following this match here in Launceston, the Pies and the Eagles. But right here, right now, Hawthorn hold a commanding 70-point lead over North Melbourne. Dylan Moore has been subbed for Hawthorn, a tactical swap for Seamus Mitchell, while Robert Hanson Jr. is into the game for North Melbourne, replacing George Wardlaw, who's out with concussion. Mick Malthouse, what sort of grace can North Melbourne save in this final term here in Lonnie?
Well, they could probably learn from last week when they led Carlton by heaps, and the Blues kicked, I think, 3 goals in the last 3 minutes or thereabouts to make it look respectable. There's a lot of pride in when you're playing football like this. It's you're playing on the telly. You're playing for a credibility. You're trailing by absolute stack. What are they trailing by? 11, nearly 12 goals, and they've been beaten everywhere. All over the ground. There's hardly anything that you look at and go, well, he's on top of him. I just can't see too many players that have won on the day. So the pride factor comes in. Right, we're 12 down or 11 and a half down. Let's make sure we don't go down any further. So that's what they're fighting for. Hawthorn on the other side of the corner be going, right, we can put the foot on the accelerator. Percentage is everything.
So the pride factor for North Melbourne and the percentage factor for Hawthorn in this final term, 70 points to the good, wins and percentage They're going to be like gold at the end of the season for teams like the Hawks scrapping for a place in the 8. They go for it again here via the boot of Butler. Connor McDonald lays a big tackle, unable to dispossess his opponent. Boots the ball, and now they come away with it, North Melbourne, via Davies-Uniacke through the middle of the ground. He unlocks Simpkin, who hits Larkey on the lead. And they moved it nicely and cleanly and quickly on that occasion, did the Roos. Nick Larkey will kick for goal number 4 from about 40 metres out, directly in front.
Yeah, he's a good player, Larkey. He's in a better, like, I would say better side. In a side that's probably in the top 8, he's looking at 60, 70 goals a year because of the supply.
31 so far in 2025. He won't add to his tally on this occasion. He just pushes this one out to the right. A minor score to kick things off, and he's not happy with himself, Nick Larkey. He knows he should have converted.
Well, it's 2. The last 2 kicks he's had, really very poor kicks to goal.
Hawthorn ball from the kick in.
Long kick out to half back. Pack develops and the umpire will call for it. 17-11, 113 to 6-8-44. Larkey getting on the board with a behind in this final term. Round 24, the Hawks kicked 10 goals in the final term to run right over the top of the Kangaroos. And that'll be the thing that Alistair Clarkson will hope won't happen in this particular match. Another ball up. Meek beautifully down to Ward, whose kick was smothered. Davies-Uniacke couldn't pick it up. Powell has been reasonably quiet for the Kangas tonight. He's tackled close to the line, and another ball up. A minute and a half gone in the final term.
Last week, Colt kicked 5 goals to none on North Melbourne in the last term.
Yeah. Well, they'll be reminded about that.
Parker's high kick. Curtis couldn't take the mark. Davies-Uniacke trying to get through. 3 or 4 hanging off him there. And it'll be another ball up. Chris, I haven't taken this ball too far. I might leave it up to you to see if you can get something.
See if I can conjure something. Maybe a North Melbourne goal. Sherry out of the ruck contest. Curtis is lurking, cracks in after it, unable to win a clean possession. He was taken down eventually. And I'll have another ball up, so I progressed it about 40 centimetres. In the forward pocket for North Melbourne. Can they strike first blood in this final term? Searching for pride, the Roos. Cam McKenzie was maybe legged. Umpire said play on. Good kick from Colby McKercher towards Constanti. Knocked away by Mitchell, who goes in and picks up a bouncing ball. Got a handball out to Hardwick, who got it to D'Ambrosio. He just scrubs one out towards the near wing to nobody in particular. Hawthorn with the numbers. And Josh Weddle tries to paddle it to himself. They couldn't allow him to get away with the footy. Luke McDonald broke it up and broke it up well. North Melbourne with footy in hand. Simpkin out to Hanson Jr. Good user normally, and not a mistake on this occasion. Constanti on a lead, takes the mark out in front of his eyes. Now he tries to poke one inside 50, missed the target of Simpkin. He had to bend down and get it. Had a shot on goal, all in the same motion, and missed to the right-hand side. Another minor score, another missed target for North Melbourne. 17-11, 113 Hawthorn, 6-9-45 the Roos.
Well, Chris, you're spot on. It was just a missed target. That target held, and what happens? You have a shot from 35 metres out.
Well, the Hawks have taken it to the wing through Impey. Battle took the mark and then got it to Impey. Then the handball over the top to Weddle. Weddle's handball is just on the bounce to Impey. He's about to be closed down by Stevens. Has to feed it back and got it to Battle, whose little chipping ball finds D'Ambrosio, who chips inboard to Mitchell. Mitchell's got Meek in a bit of space right on the outer side, and then that's a bit of overlap to Ward. Ward with a little chipping ball finds Ginnivan in the pocket. About pretty much on the 50 line, and Ginnivan might just have a shot at them here.
He is not a selfish player. There's a lot of things about Ginnivan, but if he can find a target, he will. So I'd be extra cautious here. Isn't it amazing how Gunston is standing by himself after kicking 6? He's only remotely looked at now as someone's walked over to him, but it's...
Well, Ginnivan, he's got under it, but he's got enough of it, and it floats through for a goal. He looks at the crowd and says, come with us in this final term. Ginnivan's got a couple now. He's had a reasonable night, Jack Ginnivan. Not that much of the footy, but he does a lot with it when he gets it. At the 5-minute mark, it's Hawthorn 18-11, 119 to North Melbourne 6-9, 45, and Things just rolling the way of the Hawks, Mick.
I just watch him. He's kicked the goal. He doesn't know whether he's coming off or not. He's coming off the ground. That would have been all set up beforehand. You've got to get your rotations through. I like his game. He mightn't have had a lot of the football, but Jack Ginnivan's a lot of things to a lot of people. And one of them to Hawthorn, he's an unselfish player. He'll bring other players into it. He did the same when he was playing at Collingwood. He always made space for Elliott. I used to look at where Ginnivan was. He'd have that opportunity to see whether the team could kick a goal. He's just as... I mean, yes, that's his goal there, but he's quite keen for the team to kick goals.
18-2 tonight, so enjoying himself out there as Ginnivan out of the ruck contest. There's some holding on going on to go North Melbourne's way. The centre-bounce stoppage. It'll be Harry Sheasel, whose name we haven't called as much as we normally would tonight. So from the middle of York Park, he pumps things deep and long. It was straight through the hands of Meek and Hawthorn with the numbers, and Jaff just fumbled it momentarily but had enough time to feed it back to Blake Hardwick, who looked inside and then decided to dump it long outside defensive 50. Davies Uniacke gets in the way, takes the saving mark for North Melbourne. Andrew Cooling's downstairs. Drewy?
Injury updates for both sides. See, after Jack Ginnivan kicked that goal, he ran straight off and straight to the physio and is getting his hamstring worked on at the moment. Whilst for North Melbourne, Luke McDonald bore quite a brunt of that knock with Weddle early, and he's come off with a potential left arm injury and is currently getting looked at by the doctors.
Thanks, Drewy, as the Hawks work it through hands inside the defensive 50. Clearing kick from McKenzie. Off hands, Hawks with the numbers. Ward just pokes one up the line to Watson, who gathered it on the bounce and then fed it inside to McDonald. And now Gunston streaming back towards goal. Bounces out in front of him. He has to just backtrack and go and find it. He won't have a shot. He's going to set one up instead and find Chol on the short pass. He'll be 50 metres out if he elects to kick it on a fairly tight angle, 48 degrees. But he has been lacing them this evening as Mabior Chol, and will probably back himself from here.
He's using every 30 seconds. I just don't get how they can... It's 1/60th, is it, of a quarter? No, it's 1/40th of a quarter. 1/40th of a quarter, you've got to have a shot on a goal. Why doesn't the backline player have as much time?
Mabior Chol, normally a beautiful set shot for goal. This would take his best, and my word, he has produced. He goes to the crowd, pumps the fist and says, yes, sir, yes, sirree. Mabior Chol for goal number 4. The Chol's Royce gets humming at Launceston. 19-11, 1-2-5 the Hawks, 6-9-45. They are battering the North Melbourne Kangaroos. 7.5 minutes gone. Fourth and final term, Mick Malthouse.
Well, our midday show today, I asked Alistair Clarkson, can they climb the ladder, and does trading players or free agency help? Free agency only helps top sides. You can imagine a free agent at the moment going, I'm not going to North Melbourne, so I don't see a future. Because players only can see 1 or 2 years. So what do we see? The North Melbourne today, is there a gap that big between that and a side that's sitting outside the top 4? It's amazing where football is at the moment. We've got to clean it up.
Down to Andrew Cooling.
Good update for Hawks fans. Jack Ginnivan is back out there. He's been ticked off by the physio, so no issues with that hamstring.
Thanks for that. 80 points the margin now, a new game high. Ramsden's got the footy in the centre of York Park. Kicks to a big pack. Joel! Goodness me. He is red hot at the moment. Big Mabior in the middle of that pack took a strong contested mark right in the middle of the pack. And he'll look at a shot from about 35 directly in front.
Well, he's another player that went off the boil there for 4 or 5 weeks. And when the whole Hawthorn structure sort of fell in on itself, it's now starting to come out. And these are the sort of players that are just... They cause massive headache for the opposition. Speed, marking capabilities and goal-kicking abilities.
To set a new game-high mark here, Chol lays back on the kick. He's got half a dozen, has Mabior. And the Hawks are out to an 86-point margin here at York Park, and we've not even gone 10 minutes into the final term. Hawthorn 20 goals, 11, 131. North Melbourne 6-9, 45.
How many goals do you think he's got?
5?
Good 5. Yeah.
Equal career high.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 key forwards, 6, 5, Larkey's going to kick the 3. Watson's kicked 3 as a forward, small forward. Ginnivan as a small forward, another couple. It's been a complete victory. Backline on top, midfield just slaughtering the opposition. And forwards now, there's not a forward that hasn't been a contributor.
We're out to 86 points. They'll be eyeing off a triple-digit victory here, the Hawks, with percentage so crucial come the end of the year in a tight race for the 8. Ramsden injected into the ruck. They fight after it right on the bullseye in the middle of York Park. Nobody able to win a clean possession. Umpire arrives on the scene and says, "Give it to me, please." Tosses it up. Ramsden just deals with Darling. Takes it out of the ruck and sends Hawthorn forward again. Now Weddle got to the front, juggled it down, got the hands free. Handball out to Nash. Connor McDonald. Time, space, round the body. It is getting ugly for North Melbourne. And Connor McDonald continues this avalanche of goals for Hawthorn. The Roos are being brutalised. McDonald kicks his second, and we're out to 92 points. Last time these two teams met was on this ground and was Hawthorn by 124. We didn't think it would be anywhere near that coming into tonight, but it is getting scary here at York Park. 21-11, 137 the Hawks. North Melbourne 6-9-45, 11 and a half gone. Fourth and final term. Nick Malthouse questions set to be asked of Clarko's Roos this week.
Well, now, I've got to be corrected here. They've had 2 weeks away, have they? Or they've been... Oh, no, they played Carlton last week, so we can't blame travel or jet lag or anything like that. So they've come off a victory last week. And we're seeing... It's insipid at the moment. Since half-time, when you think that they would understand what they needed to do, they just haven't got near the football.
Straight out of the centre again, and Nash puts them deep inside 50. Weddle can't take the mark. Charles there, under pressure, taken by Logue. Logue's had a crack, gives the handball to Sheasel. Sheasel the handball to Hanson Jr., who fumbled under pressure. Here's Morrison, just stand and deliver. Looks for Chol. Chol might try and feed it off here. He's tackled by Dawson. Umpire said play on. McKercher back to Logue. Now to Sheasel. Just off a step. Simpkin's got to get involved and takes the mark in front of Mitchell. Simpkin. Little short one to McKercher. Had Parker there also. Now he shares it with Parker. Parker just loads up a kick. Won't get inside 50. Up they fly. Jack taken by Zerha, who's been quiet. Zerha looks for Larkey. On the bounce. Can't take it. Constanti goes off the ground and misses to the right-hand side. 6:10:46 plays. 21-11, 137 at the 13-minute mark of the final term.
Noel Hawthorn from just about the first bounce of this game tonight. Hardwick marks in the right back pocket from the battle kick in. Skirts the boundary and then sends the ball beyond defensive 50 to a 2-and-2. Chol from 2 deep, got hands to it, couldn't bring it down. In the congestion though, Weddle arrives on the scene, picks up a loose footy, shares it with Seamus Mitchell, and now Cam McKenzie flares it out wide, puts it out in front of D'Ambrosio, who'll get onto his left boot here with time and space and room to move. Sends it towards left half forward. Gunston all on his own somehow, right where the 50 meets the boundary, gratefully takes the chest mark and now catches his breath and looks inside 50. Will he go for a 7th?
Yeah, he's definitely, well, he's shaping to go this late in the game with a heavy, I'd say heavy dew on the ground. This might just test him out. But the way he's been kicking and Chol's been kicking, anything is they're capable.
Jack Gunston for a career-high 7 majors. Sets sail on goal. And you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you don't need to when the tricks are this good. Jack Gunston, a pack of 7. Wow. A headline straight out of 2014. Well, it's 2025 and the Hawks are steamrolling the Kangaroos. 97 points the margin, 22-11, 143 to 6:10:46. Jack Gunston. Good Lord, Nick Malthouse.
You know, we interviewed Scotty Pendlebury a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and I was thinking, a lot of these younger players, they're breaking down. They're just not going through. Their pre-season has been ordinary. They don't start until December, maybe even halfway through December, whereas players of the past, it was October, November, get right into shape. Pendlebury says, I'm drawing on all those things. There's no question, when you look at it around the league at the moment, the older players are having a massive impact. Gunston's 33. Kicked his 7th goal. It is just phenomenal how he's playing.
No doubt about that. From out of the centre, all just peeled back by Hawthorn. Now taken by Sherry. Sheasel over to McKercher. Now to Parker. 5 unanswered goals so far by the Hawks. Parker goes long, and the mark taken by Constanti. Diving away. That was a lovely mark by the young player, the former Sydney Swan. Andrew calling.
Luke McDonald will play no further part in tonight's game for the Kangaroos. He's sitting on the bench with the jacket on, a shoulder injury, what the Roos are reporting.
Thanks for that, Andrew calling on the boundary for ABC Sport. Michael Maney, Chris Robot and Mick Malthouse with you. Here's Constanti from the pocket. Works it around the corner. That's a good kick. The Kangaroos have got one in the final term. And a 7th, 7-10-52. The 22-11-143. The attendance, 13,827 for this game. So a wonderful attendance here. I think we had 15-1 for the Adelaide Crows game, so that's not too bad. Constanti gets his first, and it's back down to a 91-point margin.
Back down to 91 points. Wow.
I'm trying to put a positive spin.
Well, yeah, you can, Michael. That's good.
What's that saying about goals and minutes? I don't think we've got 25 minutes left, do we?
Oh, we haven't, have we? There is is the mercy law come in yet? I mean, all the laws that they come up with, surely we're going to have a mercy law.
Not quite. Shot of Alistair Clarkson in the box. He's handed out a few of these margins in his time, but hasn't been on the end of too many tonight. It's one of those nights. Back in the middle we go. Sherry knocks it down only as far as his adversary in Lloyd Meek. His kick inside 50 is no good. It's chopped off by Dawson.
Oh, what's he going to do with this?
Oh, he looks pretty unsure as he goes back into the back pocket. I think there's 2 Jack Gunstons out there because he was attempting to chase that one down. Toby Pink is able to mark. So we're up to Hawthorn's highest score of the season, 143 points. Pink kicks beyond defensive 50. Darling waits down, takes a mark for the Roos. Looks going to pump it into the middle of the ground where Luke Parker makes good ground and gets on the end of it. So Parker here towards half forward. They string together a few. Finn O'Sullivan, who's been very, very quiet indeed. He's about 70 from goal. He's going to set it up slightly off the side of the boot. It might just work out. It has. Mark taken inside forward 50. North Melbourne will get a second shot on goal. Sherry rips it down.
It would have hurt Sherry because he got dragged down very heavily. Good mark. That's good play by North Melbourne. I questioned the first transfer because it went nowhere and that was dangerous. And the way North have been kicking tonight, you just never know whether it was going to hit the target. But that's a really good passage of play.
Battled hard tonight. Tristan Sherry in the ruck. 4 goals straight on the season. He's going to kick from about 40 metres out. And he's back on the kick. It's across the face, but there's a mark taken. It'll be a North Melbourne grab or a free kick, one of the two. Jack Darling has ball in hand, but it's going to be given to Nick Larkey.
Well, give yourself some room, Nick.
So it's from very close range, but a very tight angle. So he's going to opt to go around the corner here on the right boot. Pops it through. Yes, he does. Post height, Nick Larkey. So he gets himself a mini bag of 4. And North Melbourne string together consecutive goals.
Shouldn't come off the ground. Is that him coming off the ground now? No.
It is.
No. Is it?
Yep.
Oh.
That's it.
Shouldn't come off the ground. They don't need to take him off the ground. They've got blokes. The last bloke they need to lose is McDonald too off the back line because at least he's very sure of what he does. But when a player kicks a goal like that, particularly a big player who can take a mark and can be dangerous and knows where to find space, and you're trailing by 100 points, then you've got to leave him out there.
Goals at the 16 and 19 minute mark for the Kangaroos. To fight this game out. Not much fight in that round 24 game where the Hawks just rolled over over the top of them. Back in the centre, Meek and Sherry. Almost a free kick there to Newcomb, who was held on to by Davies Uniacke. Now away to Nash. Nash kicks it long. High ball. Chol might come to Ramsden. Well, Chol thought about getting involved, but Ramsden in the middle of that took a nice clean mark. His marking's been a bit of a feature tonight, Max Ramsden. He hasn't double grabbed them or anything like that.
I don't think he's going to get caught out at the 32nd rule either. I think he's got back there very quick.
Yeah, the last crack at it, he needed to move it on quickly. Got the hurry up. Here he is on the runway, as they say. From about 30 metres out, directly in front, Max Ramsden gets his third. The Chol with 5 and Ramsden with 3 and Gunston with 7. It's been a real feast up there inside forward 50 for the Hawks. They get goal number 23, 23-11, 149 to North Melbourne, 8-10-58 as Jack Gunston makes his way to the bench to contemplate maybe the next 15 minutes of this game. The crowd give him a really good rap.
Fantastic. Young Max is 22 years and 203 centimetres. He just stood there and took that mark right in the middle of the pack. North Melbourne really were jumping all over Cholder. Well, not jumping over him, but trying to keep him out of the play. They've got a deadly forward at the moment, especially against probably an undermanned, in many respects, no Cobden out there. So you have to do what you've got, North Melbourne. They just can't go with them in the air.
I think Aidan Core might be missing as a component of that.
Well, there's another one, yeah.
That back line.
Exactly.
Recall in the middle, so away we go again. Sheasel flashes onto it, tumbles one inside 50 for the Roos. Battle meets it first. His handball was affected. Amon ripped off the footy.
Dropped the ball, Good call.
Off cleanly.
Good call and a good tackle.
Holding the ball, Carl Amon. So North Melbourne with another set shot on goal here inside forward 50. And Constanti, who's lifted in the last 10 minutes or so, will have another ping from 45 metres out directly in front. So Jacob Constanti, one for the evening. Finds himself a holding the ball free kick. Crosses the paint of 50, sets sail toward the big sticks. You can just hear the Bronx cheers of the Hawks fans in the effects might, signalling a miss, so a minor score for Constanti and for the Roos. 23-11, 149 Hawthorn, 8-11-59 North Melbourne, to an even 90.
1 goal, 2 in the final term for Constanti as Hardwick goes out wide to the wing. That's a ball burster out there. Dawson claimed the mark, but Watson was in there, dived on the football. Might win a free kick, Nick Watson, or is it going to be a free kick against him? As a player just went over his legs.
I think you're having a bit of a fight now. It's probably about 3/4 too late. North haven't shown a lot of...
Well, it's a free kick to North Melbourne, whilst the boys on the outer side wing just continue to content themselves with a bit of wrestling and pushing and shoving. Griffin Logue's got it on this side of the ground and gives it to McKercher, who has a bounce and runs toward the interchange gates, pulls up and then just kicks it high. Curtis from the side, Mitchell by hand to Battle, now back to Amon, to Mackenzie. Mackenzie's little kick is okay, and marked by Nash, who's still at half back for the Hawks. Thought about going inboard, but he might just go down the line. He does. He's hoping for a Weddle mark, or Ramsden's in the middle of that. Chol can't get it. Flicks over the back to Daniel, who gets it to McKercher, who's in a little bit of trouble. Here's Watson, handles the ball nicely, gets it away to McDonald. McDonald away to Chol. Chol doesn't know where to go. He's got Weddle. Look away handball was interesting. Taken by Weddle. Left footer. It curls. It curls. It curls back for a behind. Not a bad snap from about 45 by Josh Weddle. The Hawks move to 23-12, 150 to North Melbourne, 8-11-59.
They raise the bat, the Hawks, as Caleb Daniel brings it out of full back, finds O'Sullivan at right half back. He takes the mark and sets off, then lost his footing, was tackled and gone. He sort of showed the ball with one hand and then fell over. Wasn't his finest moment. D'Ambrosio pounced on him. once he was on the deck, he was going nowhere. Ambrosio wins himself a holding the ball free kick, and we send Hawthorn inside 50 once more. It's exactly what he does. Kicks it to a dangerous position. McDonald was the target. He had it knocked away. Chol went in hard, tackled by McKercher. Tried to get boot to ball. It spills out. Handball to Stevens on the outside. Daniel tries to just knock it onto Powell. Now Nash loses his footing. Lets Davis Uniacke in. Didn't quite make much of it. Spills out now to Daniel, to Stevens. They work this through hand the Roos. Powell, Sheasel on the outside, kicks inboard. It's a beauty. McKercher takes it on the run, flares it toward the near side. Hanson Jr. takes the mark. Thought about the kick inside 50, but went by hand instead to Parker. Takes it, goes inside to Curtis. They break it up the Hawk, goes to ground. Curtis might have got a free kick. No.
Oh, he's played the other one.
Hawks.
Wow.
Jarman Impey, who arrived on the scene late, broke things up, who received the free kick. I'm not too sure why, but he has, and his outlet kick is good to McKenzie, who releases Morrison, and he pops one over the top to Ginnivan.
Ginnivan on the wing to Meek. Little handball to Morrison, who come motoring past, and the Morrison's kick is not his best. Left a little short for Marbior Chol, and getting in front of him was Cherry. So Sherry from half back, the big number 38 with the helmet, just keeps ploughing through. Gets a little handball away to Sheasel, who's caught by Chol, but got it away to Dawson. Dawson off a standing start. But, their kicking is a bit wayward, and the mark's been taken by Amon. He's got players running all over the place for him. Goes in short. It's okay. He finds Newcomb. Is just knocked up getting the footy. He's worn out his right boot, so he's going with the left footer. And this time it's chopped off by Toby Pink, about 30 metres from goal, who gets it to Sheasel, who got a call from Parker. And Parker takes the mark right in front of the broadcast position.
He's got a lot of football, Parker, but not a lot's come from it. There he does that kick. Beautiful kick.
Yeah, slices the ball to Fisher, who can now get things inside 50 to Zerha, but Hawthorn defenders arrived. Barris and then Impey took it on the bounce, and he was just knocked off his kick, which meant that his ball will go out of bounds on the full. It'll be a North Melbourne free kick. Hanson Jr. to take it. And he spies a target. Immediately he had to be quick from hand to shoe. He was, and Nick Larkey was good enough to take the mark in front of Impey. He's a little far out to score, I think. He's going to improve the angle and set it up to a dangerous position. Darling weighted down. Sheasel arrived. The fall was Constanti, immediately ripped down, and we'll have a ball up 25 metres out from North Melbourne's goal. 23-12, 150 to 8-11, 59. Zerha contests the ruck against Ramsden, and unlikely sort of appearing. They fight after it at ground level. Zerha now applies a tackle. And we'll have another ball up, not far away from where the previous one took place. Up it goes again. Darling ripped it out, tackled by Ramsden. He missed his boot with the ball. Newcomb burrows in, and another stoppage.
He's doing a good job to be here, Darling, after that cut on his leg. The ball up, ball just rolls its way to the pocket. Curtis might have got one a little high. Impey with a handball out looking for Nash, and he can't keep it in. Boundary throw in, left forward pocket. North Melbourne in attack at the moment. 8-11-59, they trail the Hawks 23-12, 150. 91 points the margin. Boundary throw in. A nice piece of that. Darling and Ramsden, I think, hit Ramsden on the head. Curtis tackled, got the handball away, looking for Constanti. Well done by D'Ambrosio, who might win a free kick for a push in the back. And D'Ambrosio is the man going hard at the footy, and he'll win a free. An ugly patch of play. North Melbourne players down. I think it's Sheasel who copped one in the shoulder there by the look of it. On the point. A stinger, Mick, as they call them, isn't it?
Well, it's a losing stinger.
Yes.
You're always feeling worse when you're losing.
And very stung. Here's Chol at the back. Can't take the footy with him. Hanson Jr.'s right there. Parker tries to feed it back through under pressure. Chol takes it to the line. Dawson with him. Right where the interchange gates are. And it will be a ball in. 23-12, 150. Hawthorn. They lead the Kangas 8-11, 59.
Dying embers. It's been a domination. the brown and gold Hawthorn, who are so good in their home away from home. Off the ruck contest, Hanson Jr. can't get past Morrison. He's absolutely stopped in his tracks, and the umpire says, "You're going nowhere, son," and we'll throw it up. Up it goes, Ramsden over the top, down to Nash, then Amon, now McDonald wheels around onto his right. He scrubs one along the ground, inside 50 for the Hawks. Loeb missed the handball for North Melbourne. McKercher, who's been busy all this evening, arrives on the scene, got a handball out to Pink, and only just got it back to McKercher. Now he has to think his way through it. He does, but only just. He gets it to O'Sullivan on the stretch. O'Sullivan's kick no good. Nash couldn't complete the mark. They break it up here, the Hawks. Now Weddle comes away with it, but his handball's been picked off. Hanson Jr. in the open field. Takes a bounce and then loops one over the top via hand to Darling. He's got Curtis a little further afield. He can nurse a little ball inside to Larkey, who worked really hard back inside 50.
Well, Larkey should go back now and go for his 5th goal, because he's worked hard. He's worked up and down the ground. He's been one of the... Well, he's had 13 possessions, which is not a lot, but for a big bloke that generally hangs around the 10-yard square, he's been a lot better.
There goes the siren. Hawthorn will record a barnstorming win here in Launceston. Larkey to take just a little bit of the edge off after the siren and get himself a 5-pack. He does that. He can hold his head high, Nick Larkey. He gets 5 and wins the battle, but Hawthorn well and truly win the war. 23-12, 150 the Hawks. They smash North Melbourne, 9-11-65. A demolition job in their home away from home. Hawthorn cement their place in the AFL Top 8. Teamwork is the thing that goes. One for all and all for one. May we play at war. We are the mighty, mighty Hawks. A resounding win from the Hawthorn Football Club here in Launceston. It was 7th heaven for Jack Gunston. The veteran kicked 7 goals, 1, 15 disposals. Mabior Chol added 5, and Max Ramsden and Nick Watson both kicked 3 apiece to notch up 150 points on the hapless North Melbourne, who promised so much coming into tonight's fixture. 23-12, 150 to 9-11-65. This game was just about all over at half-time when Hawthorn led by 51 points. They were up by 20 at quarter time, 51 at the half. That improved to 70 points at three-quarter time. And in the end, it was an 85-point smashing of North Melbourne. A massive win for the Hawks, and they jump into the top 4 off the back of this victory. And that means a 7th straight victory against North Melbourne, a team that they beat by 124 last time they met. Mick Malthouse, for me, the story is Jack Gunston, a 7-pack. It was an undersized defence, North Melbourne. Luke McDonald was in and out of the game, but Jack Gunston cashed in, and he turned back the clock all the way back to those glory years of 2012, 2013, 14, 15.
Well, I know you're going to ask me for the votes at some stage. It's very rare that you give, probably, which I would be giving votes to 2 of the key forwards, because I could almost put Larkey in there, but they've been smashed, so I can't. But Chol, the ruck work he did, the chase down, the opportunities he created, so rare that you give. Especially when you've won by 85 points, you kicked 23, you had 35 shots for goal. But it was a complete domination. It's outside of Larkey. McKercher was good with the number of possessions he had, although wasted a couple. Hawthorn really very complete. I know we all expected a different game there. In fact, I was regularly asked at the airport when I was coming along here, what do you reckon, by the North Melbourne supporters? And I was genuine. I said, well, their form in the last month has been quite okay. They've still only kicked 9 or 10 goals to win games, but they haven't been blown out of the water. They seem to be getting their game plan structure right. Yes, they've lost a couple of keys, as Michael has said, key backs, but nonetheless, when you look at, so Hawthorn, how many key players they got out of the game, but it was the way they played. They played with aggression, they played with run. This is Hawthorn, they played with a dominance as far as the stoppages goes, the clearances go. That was really quite, really staggering how that came about, particularly with a good ruckman. You know, we quite often look at Cherry and go, well, he's one of the premier ruckmen, and indeed he is, but Meek held his own. In fact, really it could be argued that he probably he may well have won himself as far as the hit-outs go. In fact, I'll have a look at the hit-outs. 45 to 35, so you suspect that was most of that was Meek. There was a few there by Chol, but the clearance rate 44 to 30. The centre clearance is 18 to 13. On a ground like this, it's a beautiful ground. It's a good length ground. You get maximum value for clearing the ball. 18 times, if that ball has been cleared correctly and goes inside the front 50, it's as we know, it's 1-on-1, 6v6. So, and then we found the number of times that North Melbourne players had fallen off blokes like Gunston. Gunston had already kicked 3 or 4, and we're saying, how come he's getting his 4th, 5th and 6th, and he's basically by himself. So there's some poor play back of centre by North. There was certainly wasn't enough pressure put on the stoppages, and when the ball went forward, I just thought North wasted it. They inside the front 50. I'll just go through here and have a look at see how many times they went in. Inside 63 to 40. 40's not uncommon these days. 9-11 gives you 20, so they've scored at 50%, but to win this game, they needed to go in there probably 80 times. North on Hawthorn, on the other side of the coin, went in 63 times for 35, so they were going well over 60% scoring rate inside 50s. Complete massacre, winners all over the ground, players to come back on that side. They'll probably be close to, the percentages improved dramatically from that game, albeit the fact that it's still well below some of the sides in front of them. All positives. I feel for North Melbourne supporters. I feel for Elsa Clarkson. I feel for players that have been at North for a long time and just seeing no movement. They're glued to that bottom 4. Where are they? 3rd bottom. So they're just in front at the moment of St Kilda and Melbourne, but I just don't know where they're heading. It's really disappointing in many respects for the competition, the way it is, to see sides like that, because they're not going to attract players, free agents, to go there, and they need a rush to get players, with their draft. They need 4 or 5 players to go into that side and make them better. The draftees take so long to mature.
They're a fascinating watch, North Melbourne. So much positivity during the week about the Roos off the back of that win against Carlton. It was an 11-point victory, and maybe some of the signs were there, Mick. They didn't kick a goal in that last term, and Carlton polled on 5 more, and then they had a poor loss against Port Adelaide the other night, Carlton. So maybe the Blues form indicator wasn't as true as we thought it might have been. But you go to the week before, it was Freo. They only lost by a goal. They beat West Coast. 45-point loss to Collingwood isn't terrible.
They're in the game for 3/4 time.
It was respectable.
Yes, it was. Up to 3/4 time, they were right in the game. And they'll funny for them might have even got in front.
Yeah, they did. And they beat Richmond the week before that, so taking care of the ones that they probably should be, and then sort of honourable losses there on in. But you just wonder how much a night like tonight just sets them back and just sucks the air out of the balloon that they'd sort of built up over the past week or so. It's a really interesting watch to see how they respond next week. As for the Hawks, into the top 4 now, and starting to see, as you mentioned, Mick, some of that footy that was so electric last year that got them over the top of the Bulldogs in a final and within a whisker of a prelim. They're on 40 points now, 10-5 for the season, and a crucial percentage booster. They go up to 118.4 on percentage and above Adelaide, and clipping at the heels of Geelong, who have also played 15 games. So a little warning sign to the competition maybe from the Hawks, who had a little slump losing the Gold Coast, Brisbane and Collingwood, but 3 straight now. Big wins against the Western Bulldogs, the Crows, and a thumping win over North Melbourne. The signs are good for the Hawks, and as you mentioned earlier, Michael Maney, a list of players still to come back. Warple and Lewis and Day and Sicily and Scrimshaw.
They'll all come in.
They're not fringe guys either.
No, they're not. They're not. You bring your captain back immediately as soon as he's right. The temptation sometimes is when you're clawing at position in the ladder, you go, well, look, we'll bring him back. It's a bit like Carlton last week. They played Wiedering, they played Paddy Cripps when clearly he wasn't well, because you're clawing at a victory. Hawthorn don't have to. They don't have to. They can watch Lewis now go for the next... If Lewis plays the next 4 or 5 weeks, I don't say he will, but if he plays 4 or 5 weeks in the seconds, that's not going to do him any harm, because he'll come back into the senior side at a level that as much as VFL football is now very weak, still he can get games under his belt and not be rushed. Sicily, you say, well, if you're right, we'll give you another week. So they're only going to strengthen, and the key to their play is going to be whether Day can come back in that side. If they can get games near him, look out.
We might go down to the rooms where the winning Hawthorn team is assembling and preparing to sing the club song, and they'll build it out loud and proud, I'm sure. Let's go downstairs. Yeah, there you have it. The sounds of the winning rooms. Hawthorn thumping 85-point winners over North Melbourne, and we'll endeavour to bring you an interview from downstairs. Andrew Cooling will no doubt be able to pick off one of the successful Hawthorn players, who I'm sure will be very, very happy to chat after winning in the fashion that they did. You're listening to Saturday Footy on ABC Sport. Myself, Chris Rowbottom, Michael Maney, Nick Malthouse with all the post-match analysis. And in about 10 or 15 minutes' time, we'll be off to Docklands, where Collingwood will be playing West Coast in the Mick Malthouse Cup under the lid back in Melbourne. A resounding win for the Hawks tonight. They've got the Saints next week. It doesn't get much easier for North Melbourne, who have the Western Bulldogs. But just so much to take away out of today's result for both teams, Michael Maney.
No doubt about that, Mick. I was just going to ask you, they got nothing out of Finn. North Melbourne got nothing out of Finn O'Sullivan. Harry Sheasel, very little. Jai Simpkin was down. Stevens didn't have his best game. Fisher, Hardiman, Tom Powell, Cam Zerha. They had a lot of players who just didn't get any ball. We might just go down to Andrew now. Down to you, Drewy.
Might just be getting the headphones on. Have you got a player for us?
Yeah, just getting the headphones on. Connor Nash, who's standing here. Connor must be happy with an emphatic victory like that.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. To be able to, I suppose, had to be, I think, what was it, 86 points we had on the board at half-time, to be able to then go again and really put the foot in the throat. So, emphatic performance, and good vibes in here.
3 victories in a row now. Do you feel like you're really starting to build back into your best form and the kind of level of football we saw from you last year heading in towards finals?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've had a few tricky... we've had a bit of a tricky period, and then obviously the last summer down here the conditions were a bit different. So, we've been able to get back to some of our best football, but we know we've gotten under gear again. So we're going to keep pushing, and we're looking forward to it.
It was the highest scoring first half Hawthorn has had since 2012. What do you put that down to? I suppose there's a number of weapons you have in the forward line. Obviously, Jack and Mabior were pretty lethal down there tonight.
I think so, yeah. Well, I think you can kick it to any of them and they'll make something good happen. That's what we said as mids. If we can uphold our end of the bargain and get it in there, they'll be able to do the work, because like North's midfield, they're on top in a lot of stats across competition. So it was a big challenge for us tonight, and we're thankfully we're able to prevail.
All right, guys, we'll throw upstairs if you want to ask some questions for Connor.
Connor, well done on today. I just for your mind's sake, go back, say, 7 or 8 weeks ago, when there was a real fall away by the Hawks. You started well, and then you had this drop away. What's the transformation? You've got so many good players are out of the side, and yet right now the football you're playing is as good as anyone playing in the competition. What's transferred from what you were to what you are doing now?
Yeah, Mick, I suppose we probably just were valuing went away from our real DNA.
Yeah.
And that's our pressure game. I think we're closer to the number one pressure side in the comp, so we probably went away from that and tried to get a little bit too cute and too fancy. But then got a real lesson against Collingwood, and they showed us what it's all about and what the things you have to value. So it was coming back to that pressure really at the first and foremost, and that's what's got us back on track really.
What are you feeding Jack Gunston?
I don't know.
That's the most he's kicked in his career, I think, in one game.
I know, and to be fair, it went around. So we got the word that he had never kicked 7 before. So the boys are looking for him, and as soon as he took that mark, it was like, nah, you're having the shot. But yeah, I said to him after the game, we'll sign you up for another one. But he's flying at the minute, and it's great because he puts in a huge amount of effort, not only with himself, it's with every other player. So to see him getting the reward and the way he's playing this year has been it's been a pleasure to watch. Yeah,
and he's getting a lot of support from Chol, or Chol's been getting a lot of support from him. That combination tonight really just North Melbourne had no answer to it.
Yeah, it's really potent, and they couldn't be different characters as well off the field. So it's a great little bromance they're working down there, and thankfully the two boys are flying and in great form. So we'll just keep getting it in there and let them do their work.
I heard you say that you reckon there's another gear. The players that are out of the side, I know they are out, they've got to come back and they've got to find their way. How do you think you're going from now compared to last year, where you were threatening last year, but there was an uncertainty with everyone thought, can they last? Whereas right now, you've been through your slump, you're coming back, you're looking absolutely so dangerous. What's been the basic difference, do you reckon, yourself?
I think lads have just improved individually again. I look at someone like Josh Ward, and the improvement we've seen in him this year has been phenomenal. And,
sure.
So it's guys like that that's really pushing us on, and as you said, we've got a lot of guys out of side, star players. So that's where it is. It's the depth in our squad that is really going to carry us to anything big this year. And I feel we're in a great spot, and looking forward to the next few weeks ahead. But we know what we value and what's right now, so we're going to keep sticking to that, and won't venture too far from it.
Yeah, well done.
Connor, when you talk about increasing the pressure and getting back to that pressure game that you were applying so well last year, what is that? Is it simply just increased effort, or is it more structural, or is it a combination of the two?
It's probably a combination of the two, with the effort side at 70%. So it's just getting after them, harassing, and then the structure part of it is just coming forward, being able to press up the ground. So, it takes huge effort, and it's why I think we back ourselves with our fitness and what we do in that space. So it's the way the squad's been built over the last number of years, and we won't be venturing away from it. So. But at the end of the day, there's not too much science to it, really. We've got a lot of good players that we don't really need to be able to tell them what they do when they get the footy. They'll make it up, and good things will happen once they put the effort in with the pressure.
Did you get up to anything special or different during the bye?
Well, it was a bit pressure on me this year. I was the commissioner for the annual Hawks golf trip down to Barnbougle. So we played Adelaide here the last time on the Friday night. Had a review Saturday morning, and then there was about 10 of us headed down to Barnbougle. A few of the VFL boys then came over after their game in Melbourne, and we had a great time. Bailey McDonald took it out this year, and I think there's an article come out during the week where we've got a fair few in the top 50 golfers in the comp. The Richard and Sally Sadler and Roscoe, the head pro down there, they do a great job and look after us phenomenally well down at Barnbougle.
I was just going to ask you about that article. I saw it during the week, and there were a few Hawks, and I think Mitch Lewis featured pretty highly. Did it do the rounds amongst the boys, and what was some of the conversations and the texts and the banter when that list of best golfers at the club and in the comp came out? Yeah,
it was the big talk at the physio room during the week, and I think Mitchy was pretty happy sitting at number one. But he's a phenomenal player, phenomenal golfer. But was just great. I think he got through well today as well back in the VFL. So if we can get someone like him back, it'd be huge after what he's gone through the last 3 years. So it's good fun.
Got us some good news. We had someone listening in from Limerick.
Oh, Limerick. Oh,
yeah,
hey, good. Yeah,
we had them listening in. Got the message through. Hey, boys, listening in Limerick. What's the AFL footy popularity like in Limerick, do you reckon?
Not huge, but that's where my dad's from down there. So there's a lot of Nashes down that way, which is down south. Dad's from Newcastle West, down in Limerick. Great spot.
Now, Connor, I've got to ask you this, mate, because I coached over there, the Australian side against the Irish, and the boys said to me, can we go out? And I said, well, I can't control your lives, but I said, apparently the city's nickname is Stab City.
Well, it is. Now, I didn't want to say that, Mick. We were trying to get away from that. But yeah, no, I was known that back in the day. But it's a phenomenal place to go to down in Limerick, and I reckon the Aussies do just fine out and about.
Yeah, well done.
Just a final one from me. Everyone must be really thrilled with Max Ramsden's form tonight, because he's had a couple of almost games, hasn't he? He's almost taken that mark. He's almost kicked that goal. But tonight he clunked a few and kicked some goals. Everyone must be getting around him at the moment, because it was a bit of a breakthrough game for Max.
Oh, it was, yeah. I'm watching him here, the big fella. He's up and about over there with the family. And it's great because he puts in a phenomenal amount of effort and work. So to see him to be able to... And he was challenged there tonight. He missed a couple early and had that easy one, but the strength of mind to be able to go back and I'll grab this one and I'll go at it again. And then when he was feeling himself and he was up and about, he didn't pretend that he was the big man. He give one off to somebody else in a better position. So yeah, couldn't be happier with the way he's going, and it's brilliant form.
Connor Nash, thanks so much for your time. Very gracious, and congratulations on an 85-point victory tonight. You'll go to bed this evening knowing that you're in the top 4. Well done, and sleep well.
Cheers, lads. Thanks very much.
Connor Nash there, Hawthorn bull midfielder that played a crucial part in tonight's win. And tell you what, you wouldn't want to run into Connor Nash in a dark alley in Limerick, would you?
198 centimetres.
He's a big boy.
Well, ruckman John Nichols was about 190, and you've got him, Cripps. It's just, they're phenomenal, these blokes.
Remember Don Scott wasn't all that tall for a ruckman either.
Well, I guess that was the day,
Yeah.
But what they would do, they'd march back as far as Jeff Thompson's run up, if you all understand what we're talking about cricket, and Crackers Keenan to the other side, and all that, and there'd be a bad bounce. It wouldn't matter. They just go and crash into each other, just for the sake of crash into each other. But the game has changed. But if you said 198 those days, you'd say, well, he's got to be playing ruck, got to be playing full forward. I mean, everything changes. I don't want to go back to the 1930s, but Nash, who kicked the 200 goals or 150 goals, he was 5'10".
Yeah.
Well, if that.
They tried Connor Nash as a forward when he sort of first came into the team, didn't he? He was sort of a third sort of tall forward, and he wasn't. No disrespect to Connor, he wasn't much chop, so they've thrown him into the middle as a big-bodied midfielder, and this is probably 3 years ago now, and he just hasn't.
But he's a beautiful kick too.
Yeah, he is.
So he's got that eye. I haven't seen an Irishman who hasn't come over and been able to kick the football.
Yeah.
I had Marty Clark there for a long time, and some of the things they were able to do for football was just extraordinary, because it was just sort of second nature, outside of the fact that we had him convinced that there were crocodiles in the Yarra, so and he believed it, so they are a little bit gullible.
Terrific. Did you do your 3-2-1?
Yeah, I've done the 3-2-1, and I'm embarrassed about this, because I think there's an embarrassment of riches for Hawthorn. McKercher for North Melbourne got a lot of possessions, gave up the football a few times. If they had been closer, you'd almost look at him. You could also look at Larkey, 5 goals, 3, come up and kept them in didn't keep them in the game, so they weren't in the game, but never gave in. But I'm probably going to be Amon's going to miss out, and I'm sort of kicking myself. How do you fit 4 into? Well, how do we fit 9 into the 8? I'm seeing 4 into the 3. So 1 vote to Chol. Why? Because of his competitiveness. He went in the ruck, gave a very good account of himself in the ruck. Moved around the ground, gave opportunity behind him for Gunston to be able to be in the play. presented well, marked well, tackled well. That tackle and goal down our left-hand end was fantastic. Second, 2 votes to Newcombe. I just thought again, that could have been Eamon, but I just thought that his hardness at the football, he's a bull, he's a brute. He gets the football. He's no tackle, no prisoners. And Jack Gunston, I just can't say enough about a bloke who 7 goals. He's been in football for a long, long time. He was almost gone when he went to Brisbane. He's almost gone when he come back and asked to come back. Here he is as the main goal kicker, and kicking 7 goals. I don't care where you kick it and how you kick it, whether what's the state of the side. If you kick 7 goals in the way he did, he found space, looked for space, took good marks, good on the ground, shared them with his teammates. 3 votes.
Yep, I think I agree wholeheartedly. A man that kicked 7 goals at the age of 33 deserves the 3. Newcombe with the 2, and Marbior Chol, his 5-pack, earned him a vote as well.
And the conundrum is, when Mitch Lewis comes back, what do they do in that forward line? So I guess Ramsden might be the bloke who misses out if Lewis gets back in, but that's going to upset a little bit of the edginess of that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what keeps people on edge though, because Chol can ruck. And that's why Chol stays in the side. But there's no sin in having players coming in, because it keeps you right on edge.
And still plenty of names to come in for the Hawks as well, who will sleep very, very well tonight, having defeated North Melbourne by a whopping 85 points here in Launceston this evening. 23-12, 150 the Hawks to North Melbourne's 9-11-65. Jack Gunston wound back the clock and was very, very special indeed. 7 majors to him, 5 to Marbior Chol. And it was Jack Gunston who earned himself the 3 votes via the hand of Mick Malthouse. That's about all from us from here in Launceston. You're off to Docklands now in the Mick Malthouse Cup. Collingwood taking on West Coast. The call team: Matt Clinch, Lauren Borden, Adam Ramanauskas, Luke Ball and Alexia Pesce. A late change. Bobby Hill is out for personal reasons. Oleg Markov is in. That's all from us here in Launceston. Enjoy the game at Docklands.
Ben Cameron and Corbin Middlemash from ABC Sport here.
Alongside Paul Roos, Brett Delidio and Poppy Penny, we bring you all the latest AFL news from both on and off the field on the ABC AFL Daily podcast.
You can hear it all on the ABC Listen app.
Up to steady and pull the trigger.
Get ABC AFL Daily Podcast. It's your daily footy conversation. Find it on the ABC Listen app.